There's goop in my throat. There's goop. What do we do about the goop? Nothing. There's goop in my throat. All right, we sound fine. Maybe a tiny sip of boiling hot liquid will help with that. Oh God, that is so hot. That is the hottest thing that's ever existed. All right, what are we doing today? Stuff, things. We do have to keep moving because I just got here from work, which is why I'm dressed like a tool, and I gotta go back to work after it, so we have a finite amount of time to do this. There's no time for stalling. Hazel, Jesus Christ, there's no time for stalling. We're in a rush. The top 16 and the top 8 have already been played, except for actually one of them's getting played right now, so we'll get those replays at some point. They're either already done or just finishing up that. Why are we casting replays? Because it's really hard to get a bunch of people on different time zones together before the Chaos Dwarf DLC comes out, and it's kind of fucked up to play a tournament in one meta and then get a giant DLC patch and be in a different meta. So they really wanted to get to at least the top 4. The top 4 will be Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, Sunday after the Chaos Dwarf DLC patch. It's ODM Finals. It'll be me and Tactical Itch co-streaming together, the two of us. It'll be great. It'll be a great time. That is what I have on this. For today's sponsors, you gotta shout them out. One sponsor is Chevy. They say, why buy a Toyota? Toyotas make you look like a little bitch. Buy a Chevy. And the other sponsor is Toyota. Why buy a Chevy? Buy a car that works. Toyota. All right? I probably shouldn't have taken two conflicting sponsors like that. But what are you gonna do? The check comes in the mail for $1 million. The envelope just says Chevy on it, written in what I presume is red ink. It looked kind of like blood. Just says Chevy. And I'm like, all right. They want me to do an ad for Chevy. Cool. And then another one comes and it says Toyota. Exact same handwriting, which was kind of strange. And the check's for $3 million. You gotta run an ad. You gotta. Because I didn't even put a callback number. So it's not like I can call and say, hey, no, where do you want your $3 million sent? Because I don't want it. Of course I want it. So I'm going to do the ad. Anyway, Chevy and Toyota, I hope you guys both enjoyed your ads. And if it wasn't you, then I might have to call the police. Okay. That's enough stalling, letting people gather. Left-hand screen, we'll see the top 16 bracket. This tournament, we're in the top 16. There was a group stage played for everybody who signed up. In those groups, if you got the top 2 spots, you would just advance to this final stage. And if you got third, you would enter a weird playoffs bracket that Tactical Glitch has been casting some of. I have not. I have been very busy. Yeah. So some people have filled in these gaps where Alfredino fights playoffs number 1, which is Azrael of Astora. I did make it into the bracket. I finished first in my group, and I have to fight Caradoc. Caradoc is a fearsome opponent. It makes me sad. I don't want to fight him right away. I wanted an easy fight like Alfredino. So we're just going to go straight down the line. Alfredino versus blank, and that blank turned out to be Azrael of Astora. I don't think there's a prize pool. If there is, I just forgot about it. But this is a super sweaty tryhard tournament, so expect to see a lot of Dark Elves. Game 1 is Alfredino on Dark Elves versus the Ogres of Azrael. I had a ping, but the ping is gone now, so I guess it was not important. Lexus equals the best Toyota? True. What up, Cuden? For the Dark Elves, we do have Dark Riders, 4 Cold One Knights, which is interesting, real quick, because I had originally assumed, on paper, that this matchup was Dark Elf favored, because they have a lot of armor-piercing, ammunition, they have Cold One Knights, but they're anti-large, they have a lot of spears and halberds, and they have flying units. I don't know. I thought it was very strong for the Dark Elves, and then ODM made the case that it's actually good for the Ogres, and after watching a lot of replays of it, I've decided it's pretty even. But the big thing for me about why it was even is Cold One Knights underperform horrifically against Ogres all the time. So it's really interesting to see now that we're like, oh, okay, I could see how it's maybe good because Cold One Knights kind of suck. And then Alfredino comes in here with 4 fucking Cold One Knights, no Scourge Runner Chariots. So he's taking 4 of the unit I thought were underperforming and is apparently just going balls out. Anyway, 4 of them. 3 Dark Riders, one of which is just going to take a fight with the Sabertusk back immediately. I have to think the Sabertusk is going to win that with better stats and higher weapon strength. They are going to mulch through those Dark Riders, so curious what that purpose is. Frontline of Bleak Swords and Dread Spears, 2 Feral Manticores, and Malekith up on his Dragon Mount with the Gaze of Malice and Soul Stealer. The other side for the ogres, we do have a bunch of ogre bulls with dual weapons, gives them some anti-infantry. Powder Guts, Man-Eater Pistol, ROR. The Crushers, ROR. The Sky Striders, 5 Noblar Trappers. Looks like just 4. And we do have a Slaughtermaster the Great Maw with his heal and Bone Crusher. Okay. The Man-Eater Pistols are going to be really the only thing that can super punish Malekith when he's in the sky. Though if he does just dive down, I expect the Crushers to maybe come in and say hello to him soon. Though, I have tried that many a time, and usually the Crushers struggle to actually kill him off, so you can usually get away just fine. Cold Knights and Manticores diving straight in onto the Powder Guts. Countercharge from the Ogre Bulls, but they're really mucked up in an awful lot of cold ones. And it feels like the Ogres just didn't spend some money. I know that's not true at this level of play. Oh, there's a second Crusher. Okay, Crusher with an Iron Fist. I was like, this army looks too small. I don't know why that Crusher with an Iron Fist was 50 miles away from the formation, but that is really going to hurt them. Malekith does a big breath attack, though it mostly seems to hit his own Manticore. So that did not go well for him. A little bit of poke damage onto the Crushers, though, is nice. Noblar Trappers are firing in at some Coldland Knights interspersed throughout here, and the Man-Eater Pistols are having a really hard time finding somewhere to just sit and shoot for a bit. Malekith's going to continue harassing him. More Crushers are in. The Crushers have killed the Feral Manticore quite handedly, and any Coldland Knights in the area are also taking a lot of punishments. The backfield is going mixed. Overall, the Ogre's getting a lot of damage. Frontline's going nicely for the Dark Elves, though. Dread Spears and Bleak Swords and Coldland Knights pushing through with the help of a Manticore for a little bit of terror. But I think that Crusher being way out of position at the start really hindered the Ogre's early game, because there was not a lot of countercharging to be done without that second Crusher. Balance power is about even, slightly in the favor of the Dark Elves, and I would tend to agree. Powder Guts getting dove on once again by Malekith, and now they are just surrounded by Dread Spears. It's really a tough time for them to get anything done. Ogres are going to rely heavily on the Crusher blob. Can these two Crushers, especially a Crusher with an Iron Fist, that's a weird one. Normally you just see the great weapons, but maybe the Iron Fist can do some good. Though I haven't seen a lot of Soul Stealers out of Malekith, so he has plenty of healing left to go. And I think he still has 2 breath attacks left, one of which is going to hit 2 Crushers right about now. That was a decent little bit of poke damage. And the Ogres are fully inundated. They do have some Noblars coming back, some Ogre Bulls coming back to the main fight. Maybe with a nice rear charge on some of these Dread Spears, they can get something going, some momentum. But momentum's looking to be a hard thing to come by if you're an Ogre. They even lost the plot a little bit. They're not up to magic. You're up to forgetting where you're supposed to be. I don't know what they have orders to do right now, but it's not attack those Dread Spears. They're just walking around, having the time of their life. Big Soul Stealer is going to hit the Powder Guts and the Crusher with the Iron Fist, but I think the main target there was the Powder Guts. They're so low on HP, maybe you can try and take out some models, because Ogres don't have any magic that resurrects models, so if you can take those out, then any subsequent healing will not matter nearly as much. Crushers are almost piecing out. They're at 0 leadership. They do actually run with Coldland Knights coming up behind them. I find it highly unlikely they will ever come back. And the Dark Elf Tide is just overwhelming the Ogres, unfortunately for the thick boys. Why don't you use mod for overlay? Which mod for overlay? Is it the Cleason cheat mod? Because fuck that guy. Alright, Malekith's diving down for some sniping. But the Sky Striders aren't long for this world. The other Crushers, the Mana Pistols are out, and it looks like it is pretty decided at this point. Slaughtermaster's gonna get away. But there's really just not enough DPS out of the Ogres left to kill all this stuff. And that is going to be a GG. It went to help the Sabres kill a Dark Rider. I don't think they needed that help. Yeah. Alright, Malekith, 2,400 value. Just pretty casual sliding in there. Coldwood Knights, mixed value, but overall quite good. Manticores, not doing the best, but they were just disruption pieces, I guess. And then the front line for the Dark Elves did okay. Dark Riders ran around. Yeah, I don't think the Ogre build was bad. I'm trying not to be an asshole, because it's like every unit I disagree with is in this army. But I personally don't like Ogre Bulls with dual weapons. I prefer the Iron Fist variant. I don't think the bonus first infantry helps that much. And the Iron Fists have a little higher melee defense. That helps them out, plus shields, but yeah. I don't know. I think the build was fine. I think the Iron Fist Crushers were just way too out of position in the early game, unfortunately. And the pistols did get overly aggressive. They ran up to the front line to get some poke off, but then got caught out in the front line. And they didn't have Crusher support right behind them, so... Yeah, a couple misplays. The build's fine. I think the disagreements I have with it is, like, this guy should be a great weapon and these guys should be iron fists, but that wouldn't have changed the way the game went, so... GG's. GG's. Alrighty, give Alfredino his point. Look for replay number 2. Also, Caradoc, you and I fight later on the stream. That'll be fun. Replays, of course, replays. Alright, game 2. Holy shit, it's Vampire Counts versus Dark Elves. The classic Dark Elves. Oh boy, Dark Elves are going to try to kite him. Yeah, why not? It helps much to observe what happens. Using a cheat mod to observe what happens. I would not do that. I would not do that. Alright. We going. We going. Okay. No more Warhammer for the next day. This game drained me, playing like 9 hours. Damn, Caradoc. Damn. You have multiple tournaments going on or something, buddy? There's no way 2 best of 3s did that. Or were you playing on ladder again? Anyway, for the Vampire Counts, we have 4 Cairn Wraiths. Interesting front line. 5 zombies. We have Manfred von Karstein on his dragon, currently mating with Malekith's dragon? Okay, that's not PG. Fate of Buna, Spirit Leech, Raised Dead, and Invocation of the Heck. We have 4 Vargeists, Konigstein Stalkers, and a Necromancer. Huzzah, huzzah. On the other side for the Dark Elves, we have 3 Dark Rider Repeater Crossbows, 2 Scourge Runner Chariots, 4 Black Arc Corsair Handbows, and then a bunch of Coldwood Knights and Dark Riders. But it looks like the Dark Riders overextended a little bit and got caught by the Vargeists, immediately lost half their HP and terror routed. Fucking brutal. But that is how the matchup goes sometimes. Coldwood Knights are going to dive in on the Cairn Wraiths, but see how well they fare. Not good. Okay, not good. Cairn Wraiths ripping them apart. Oof. Rough, rough start for the Dark Elves, losing a 1,000 gold cavalry unit. Just like that. Manfred is going to get out. Malekith dives back in. Dark Elf's trying to kite a bit, but a lot of their kiting elements aren't nearby for the actual shit that's going down. Malekith's even going to have to throw out an early Soul Stealer onto the 2 Cairn Wraiths and a Vargeist, so it's like a pretty high value Soul Stealer, I guess, but Soul Stealer isn't as good versus the Counts because they're so good at healing it up. It's much more punishing against factions that the damage actually sticks. You're playing practice than ladder than this? Ugh. Ugh. I give you, son. How you doing? So the kite's off to a bad start. We lost a whole Coldwood Knight. But now things seem to be much more on track. Bounce power is still about even, and we did get some good shots onto the Vargeists, who are now trying to retreat back to the Necromancer with his passive Unholy Lodestone healing for them. Other Vargeists have also taken a decent amount of damage. Where are those Cairn Wraiths from before? Okay, they're also retreating for some passive healing. Now, thankfully, this is a replay, and I can do that. So zombies are trying to just eat some ammunition, while the Dark Elves are trying to fulfill the attacking role without hitting any zombies. They are shooting at Vargeists, so we're doing some dodging. Malekith dives in for some free zombie value along with Dark Riders, but the Dark Riders and Cold Knights are going to get countercharged by Vargeists, take an absolute fuck ton of damage before retreating. And the Vargeists will also take a good amount from those skirmish elements, but they will retreat to go heal. So Vampire Counts are healing. Zombies are being sacrificed, as is their birthright. A big Soul Stealer, but onto a Cairn Wraith and 2 zombies is probably not worth it for Malekith. And Manfred is boldly diving in onto him. Fate of Buna is going to take out a whole Coldwood Knight. And then a mass disruption as Vargeists just dive into the skirmish elements, accepting that there's not a lot of melee prowess to stop them anymore, especially with one of the Coldwood Knights was slotted for a nasty Fate of Buna. Scourge Chariots running desperately low on ammo, but the Black Arc Corsair handbows that are in here are a hybrid skirmish unit, but they're also pretty decent in melee. You can see the Vargeists are actually taking a lot of damage. It looks like we're going to lose 2 Vargeists here overall. And Manfred is still trying to cycle charge Malekith a little bit, but it's a bit of a wet noodle fight. They're both on dragons, but they're both combatants. A lot of Malekith's prowess doesn't come from his combat stats, it comes from being on a dragon and soul-stealing things. When you're fighting someone else with a dragon, I don't know. His stats are 53-48 with a debuff right now, so he's not incredible. Same with Manfred. 46-46 isn't exactly amazing compared to like the Blood Dragon Lord or Imric or something. So Dark Riders diving in on the far sides. Looks like they were trying to get free value on zombies and then just kind of got stuck in there. Black Corsair handbows retreating away. Excuse me. And how are we doing on the vampire count side? Looks like the Vargeists took a beating. I think they're all dead, maybe. Because that one is barely alive. He's not going to make it through the night. So while that was a pretty nice play from the vampire counts, taking out a bunch of units, like we saw Skirmish Cav run off the map over here, so Black Arc Corsair handbows are being chased away by the Cairn Wraiths. They will take out a lot of skirmish elements, but it costs them almost all of their agency pieces. So we'll see if the Dark Elves have enough left in the tank to just kite them after this point. Cairn Wraiths are fast little buggers. Oh wow. Yeah, and if they apply their if they apply Frostbite, then they really slow down these Black Arc Corsairs. Okay. That makes more sense, I guess. For a bit I was wondering why would you take little Cairn Wraiths versus a faction with a lot of magic damage, because that can happen to them, but it looks like they're doing it for the speed. You're always wondering if it's better to Buna Dark Riders. I still think it's probably better just Buna the Coldwood Knights. Dark Riders aren't too much of a problem for you. Big breath attack from Malekith, as he is going to try and take out said Dark Riders, so he does about as much damage to his own Cairn Wraiths. All these things cause terror, too. Huh. Fun. Is there any lord that retains their bonus versus large while on a dragon? None that I can think of, but I don't know that many dragon lords off the top of my head. Malekith really displaying the trouble landing bug that, as far as my testing has shown, did get fixed in the next patch, and it's happened like 4 times in this game already. So that's a good change. Happy to have that soon, as of Thursday. I believe the patch drops on Thursday. Because the release of the Chaos Dwarves. It'd be weird if the patch dropped before that, but then you just couldn't buy the Chaos Dwarves. Oh, where did you come from, little Vargeist friend? I thought all of you were dead. Okay. With 1 Vargeist on the field, maybe they still have some sauce. Anyway. More skirmishing, more dragon fighting. Pokey poke. Poke, poke, poke. But surrounded by Cairn Wraiths, Malekith does have to get out of here, as Manfred is just going to chase him. But with the little Cairn Wraiths keeping him nice and slowed, Manfred can easily stay on him, so he actually can't opt out of this fight. And he is just getting waddled down. Meanwhile, none of the skirmish elements are coming by to help out Malekith, who does actually somehow get away, and I am shocked about that. Slash the Vargeist is being chased down by the skirmish elements of the Dark Elves. Meanwhile, the Vampire Counts and their infantry are all going to go blob back up and do some healing. We are at 11 minutes of this. Triple fast forward as Vargeist try to land, and Malekith will take care of them. Bounce power significantly against the Dark Elves at this point. I would tend to agree. I understand they want to do some more kiting. I just really don't think they have the juice left to kill all this stuff. Though a big Soul Stealer does hit literally the entire army. That's fun. Healing caps for 2 of the Cairn Wraiths are within sight. The other 2 still have plenty left to go. Manfred is approaching his heal cap. So is Malekith. But Malekith's is a better combatant. Not an incredible one, but he's technically better. He's currently kicking Manfred's ass. Manfred missed a lot of attacks in a row there. More kiting. A little bit of pew-pew. But these Black Arc Corsairs get caught by the Cairn Wraiths. That means they're not escaping. They are going to terror route. And then naturally route. Another Black Arc Corsair is taken down. Manfred lands to help out with a bit of the damage. Army losses hits, giving Alfredino a 2-0 in a very super cool, super fun Dark Elves versus Vampire Counts kiting game. Oh, 3,300 on Manfred. Good to see at least a different build. Like, Vargeists are pretty common here, but Cairn Wraiths were a cool little pick. Manfred was fun. I mean, he was picked just to use Spirit Leech and Fate of Bina, which are decidedly not fun. But you know what? I'll take Manfred. 4,900 on Malekith. Scourge Runners did fine. Golden Knights mostly just had to be sacrificed to the Dark Gods. Dark Rider, Peter Crossbows, and the Black Arc Corsair Handbows really struggled versus the Karen Wraith tech. That's a GG. So Alfredino will advance. I don't have access to updating the brackets. This is not my tournament. So hopefully Hanadins does that and we can look in on it later. Get rid of that replay. Put the desk into sitting mode. Go, sitting desk. Go. Now I have to look up what the heck we're doing next. John FB versus blank. Okay, even I don't know who this is. Ugh. Who fights Mr. FB? Oh, nobody, because he had to go. Okay. Okay. So John FB had real life stuff, so he could not participate. He had to drop out. So we'll skip down to the green one versus another playoffs contender, which was AC Maiden. Okay. ODM's the green ones versus ODM's AC Maiden. A lot of ODM in the ODM tournament. That's kind of sus. That's some bullshit. I need to go talk to those guys. They should know better than to play in their own tournament. It's kind of fucked up. I hope they feel bad. Oh, shit. Okay, all right. Vanguard nonsense. Calm down. Calm down. Let me upgrade the things. Now we have ODM's AC Maiden. Cool. All right. What the hell is going on? Empire versus Demons of Chaos. Huntsman General and 3 Huntsmen. Then we have the Sterling's Revenge plus more Free Company. So Free Company and Huntsman for the ranged components. Reichsguard, Empire Knights, and Reichsguard. So 3 Empire Knights, 2 Reichsguard, a front line of Swordsmen and Spearmen. That's pretty simple. No caster? Oh, there he is. Amethyst Wizard with Spirit Leech and Fate of Una. The other side for the Demons of Chaos, a front line of Vanguard Nurglings, plus a bunch of Exalted Demonettes to back them up. Seekers of Slaanesh, Fleshhounds of Khorne, and of course, Be'lakor. Interesting. I'm curious about the Exalted Demonettes. I guess they do good work. I was going to say their low armor makes them vulnerable to archers, but welcome to the Demons roster, I suppose. Already we have some Nurglings crumbling away. But the backline is going to get chaotic very quickly. Seekers will take a pretty good fight onto any Empire Cav 1v1. The problem is Chaff and Arrows do a lot of damage to Seekers, but if they can get that melee fight with you, they will tear you apart. It looks like this rear charge over there is going well for them. And already Be'lakor has a nice pit of shades. It's going to kind of collide with mostly the swordsmen, but these Empire Knights have nowhere to go. Be'lakor himself is just rampaging around, trying to get some healing, I imagine, from standing amid state troops that are terrified of his very existence. And in the back, yeah. As we said, if the Seekers actually catch one of your Empire Knights are dead. Run indeed. Run indeed. Fleshhound's trying to disrupt the backline, and disruption is the name of the game. You can see Huntsman really having a hard time finding a place to stop and shoot. Be'lakor's routing one, another was routed by those Fleshhounds. Free Company Militia are also having a hard time finding their place. The Empire is not a melee faction. They do fine at melee, but they really need their ranged assets to do a little bit of poking to carry them through the day. Seekers of Slaanesh dying to Spearmen, plus the Sterling's Revenge, plus a Huntsman General shooting them in the back. So goodbye Seekers, and the Demons of Chaos are at about equal. While they've gotten some good trades, they just aren't like mortal units where this Huntsman is routing, right? Cool. It'll come back at half HP and contribute to the game. Demon units do not get to come back to the game and contribute. They die forever if they ever get low at all. So it is usually a rough time for them. Be'lakor is doing his best solo carry, and solo carry he will have to. A lot of terror routes coming in for all these Reichsguard and Empire Knights. Seekers now out on the hunt, trying to chase down some stuff, make sure those Huntsmen don't come back most likely. Exalted Demonettes and Nurglings are working their way through the poor state troop front line. State troops weren't bred for this, they weren't meant for this. And they are no match for the exalted cruelty of the Prince of Pleasures. Be'lakor is running a little on HP. He has his heal, right? He better. Yeah, he does. So he should be healing up from following these Reichsguard, but he's just not. Okay, their leadership must be too high, even if they're routing. Okay. Some more Seekers gonna dive into more Huntsmen, who just rallied and tried to do something good for once in their life, and instead were brutally, brutally murdered by a weird iguana salamander horses. Yeah, those. Meanwhile, Demonettes kind of do a fun little truffle shuffle for a second there. Pick a speed and stick to it. Jesus. Stopping and running and stopping and running and switching directions, and now these Reichsguard are going to run away. This place is too confusing. Empire is getting a pretty good second win, though. As the demons just run out of units to disrupt things, they're reorganizing their flanks a bit, getting Huntsmen and Sterling's Revenge to shoot, doing pretty good damage to these Exalted Demons. That's just good stuff for the Empire. The Disruption is the name of the game versus Imperial Lines. If you fight any Empire army and they have time to, like, set up everything, they'll usually do quite well. It's what their whole faction's around. They're not really that good at, like, rushing or anything like that. The reorganization of the Empire is quite good for them. Bellicor coming back to see what he can do about futzing with it. And he can futz with stuff. The bounce power is looking a little sus for the demons at the moment, but Bellicor's a hell of a drug. He's just kind of loping back in here, and these Reichsguard are following him around. Like, listen, we'll do what we can whenever you feel like landing, but that's all we got. Alright, Lucinia asked a question, but looks like chat's got it handled, especially Hanadins and Caradoc. Both excellent players to answer those questions. Bellicor's in, he's trying to disrupt some things. Nurgling's still holding for a little bit, as the Seekers of Slaanesh are charging in and out. We still have one Exalted Demonette, one Seeker, another Seeker in the distance. That's pretty much just a dog unit at this point. It can only chase down routing stuff. That's not going to do anything in any stand-up combat format. It's just too low. Bellicor does rout one of the last three ranged pieces. The other one is poking him from the distance. Maybe that dog-type Seeker can go take it out, and it immediately starts streaking over that way, so this Huntsman is on borrowed time. Bellicor's holding, and I haven't seen a ton of Pit of Shades. Now, he has been using Melkoth, so maybe he's running low on Winds of Magic, but I could see him getting a nice fat Pit of Shades on this full health Spearman unit, taking it out and using their bodies to heal him up. I could see that being a thing he does, but it looks like he's actually just going to focus on more Melkoths. Really wants to stop those Huntsmen. Seekers charging in, taking a little bit of damage from the Huntsmen, but their charging bonus should keep them in the fight just long enough to finish these guys off for the final time. I think that will shatter them, but as these Empire Knights come in, even with minus 40 melee attack, they have 0 melee attack, but it's not going to be enough for the Seekers. They are getting taken out. Bellicor joins over, and somehow those Huntsmen actually held on. The Men of the Empire's resolve is stronger than I would have suspected. Bellicors are getting really poked down. And that might be the end of that lad. In the back, some more Seekers are fighting a ragtag group of Knights who have all banded together with their low-ass health to form one cohesive Knight unit. Pushing the Seekers to the very edge of crumbling, but not quite. And Exalted Demonettes even join in, but with Huntsmen and Free Company Militia support nearby, and a Spirit Leech on a Bellicor, army losses is probably coming for the Demons faster than you would think. Here is a Pit of Shades, but it is too little, it is too late, and the Demons' hopes are burning away in the army losses. GG. Isn't he healing? He had the healing passive, but, like, I don't know. I wasn't noticing him healing throughout most of the game. Huntsman General was just there to be cheap, I guess, and poke people. Amethyst Wizard did very well. Reichsguard didn't do great value, but they just had to block some stuff. Empire Knights did equally well. Free Companies, the Arwar did very nicely. Huntsman did okay. Swordsmen actually about paid for themselves, and Spearmen too. Okay. For the Demon side, Bellicor, 1800 value, not enough to carry the whole game. Exalted Demonettes did mixed, but overall good. Seekers of Slaanesh did mixed, but overall good. Fleshhound, the one Fleshhound struggled a bit, and Nurglings existed. That is all you can ask of them. You're not paying 350 gold for them to do something. You're paying 350 gold for them to exist in your presence. Which just has to be enough. Alright, game 2 is Lizardmen versus Khorne. I do like this matchup for the Lizardmen. I usually use the Dreadsaurian, though. Unironically. Dreadsaurian's quite good against Khorne. That's an awful lot of Marauders, though. Which immediately makes me sus, because Marauders suck ass. The Khorne Marauders do, anyway. What the hell's going on with my hair? I just saw that. It's like the world's worst comb over. There, now it's a messy douchebag faux hawk. Alrighty, lizards! Cold One Spear Riders, Cold One Spear Riders, Cold One Spear Riders. 3 of them. 3 Feral Cold Ones, 2 Ripperdactyls, including the Colossus Hunters ROR. 4 Skink Jabs, 4 Skink Skirmishers, a Revivification Crystal, and a Life Salon for all the healing in the world. And that is certainly becoming popular with the lizards. It's just so much goddamn healing. The other side, we did see it in the load-in menu. We have 8 Marauders of Khorne, 4 with dual weapons, 4 with shields. Looks like just 1 Fleshhound? 2 Fleshhounds, 2 Minotaurs of Khorne, not with great weapons. They don't have anti-large. Interesting. We do have the Bloodbrute Behemoth, Gorgon, ROR, and Valkia. Human Mess, douche. Hey, John B. Also, thanks, John B. Skinks are trying to figure their shit out. Having issues really stopping and throwing right now, but the Skink Skirmishers are just continuing to pummel the Khorne frontline for a little bit, as these Marauders with only 35 armor and bronze shields are actually taking a good amount of damage from basic Skink Skirmishers. But Khorne's mostly just setting up the surround. Feral Cold One's going to dive forward and try to hold back the Marauder tide. Meanwhile, Skinkos Javelins stop and try and fire, but they are immediately attacked by the Marauders with dual weapons, though. The Marauders are fucking losing this fight to basic Feral Cold Ones. God damn it, Khorne Marauders, I hate you so much. Fleshhounds were looking for a little bit of poke. Didn't get a ton before the Javelins were turned on them. They had to back off. Fleshhounds would take a lot of damage from the Skink Cohorts with Javelins, so they don't want any of that at all. Some Lizardman Cav is even harassing the back line, though it looks like Khorne has gone for a big flank overload on this side. We'll see if they can even get through the Skinks quickly enough to really make that worth it, as they have lost almost a whole Marauder there, almost a whole Marauder over there. Valkia dives in. I wouldn't hate for a Spear Slaupnir right down this line, just take out a whole bunch of these Skinks, because you're going to have to. I don't know if the Spear does that much damage to Glumped Up Cav. If it does, then I guess saving it for that is worthwhile, but I don't know if it does. Big fight back here. Minotaurs and Fleshhounds taking a good engagement on Golden Spear Riders and the Clawstone Hunters. That is pretty crucial for them, and the Spear does come down where we thought it would, just immediately shattering off one Skink unit and routing the other. Maybe. Some Marauders are trying to come back and join the fight with these Khorne guys in the back, but a Revivification Crystal is supporting the Cold One. I want to say Knights because of Dark Elves, but Riders. And then 66% physical resistance is also really going to help them out. But the Minotaurs, even without their bonus versus large, are doing quite well. Fleshhounds getting rear charged by Ripperdactyls, sort of, if you consider this blob rear charging, but they're doing their best. The Bloodbrute Behemoth is actually just going to turn at them and kick their ass quite handedly. Meanwhile, the Marauders of Khorne still advancing, and Khorne is up on the balance of power, which is very rare for Khorne because they don't have a caster of any kind due to their, how their faction works. But without a caster, it is very hard to be ahead on the balance of power. But still, with the Revivification Crystal is fighting Valkia and some Minotaurs. He's having a bad time of it, and if they can take him out, that is a lot of healing off the board for the Lizardmen. 6 uses of his ability left, so killing him would be crucial. Life Salon's just fine, though, so there will still be healing overall. Fleshhounds peeled off. Meanwhile, Feral Cold Ones, Cold One Spear Riders, and Ripperdactyls all trying to gang up on the Bloodbrute, but with some Marauder support to keep him safe from getting, fully surrounded and beaten up 100v1. He'll be okay and do a lot of good damage. These Minos are still getting chased around by the same Cold One Spear Rider and the Colossus Hunters. They don't give up. They don't quit for nothing. And now with some Feral Cold One Skink support even, it's starting to look like it's going the Lizardman's way a little bit, but Valkia is here to say otherwise. She is going to dive straight down onto, looks like Colossus Hunters. Yeah, she gets a big attack onto them. Khorne's still feeling good. Still feeling all right. But the Lizardmen have a lot of bodies left to put on the fire. Minotaur's still trying to chase off that Revivification Crystal, but Ripperdactyls dive onto them. They could probably kill the Ripperdactyls. I think they just really don't want to let that Revive Crystal come back. Meanwhile, the Bloodbrute Behemoth is going to chase down himself a Slan. Slans are still weird. They are very, very tanky, partially due to their giant models can make certain things hard to actually connect with them, but a Gorgon should be okay because he has very expressive animations over there. Ripperdactyl's actually doing better versus Minotaurs than what I thought, and it's probably due to the 66% physical resistance on Flesh to Stone. All right, that would change things, yes. So those guys are doing okay. Valkia routes off, but it looks like this is just a wash for both sides. The Minos that were here were pushed off. The Cold One Spear Riders were pushed off. Nobody wins. Bloodbrute Behemoth still trying to fight the Cold One Spear Riders. He now is getting poisoned by the Skink support that has arrived. He doesn't have too many Marauders around. And this is going real bad, so the Vivification Crystal's probably going to rally in the trees. Well, maybe not. His leadership is a pretty solid -4. We'll see. He might come back, and if he does, he could offer a lot more healing to the Ripperdactyls and such. But these Minotaurs are caught out, having a really, really bad time trying to finish off these Ripperdactyls with all of the support they've gotten from their Slann. Finally, the Minos get some support as well in the Relentless Rage Unbreakable, but as soon as it wears off, they are in dire straits, and Valky's just not going to be enough to kill off these Rippers. And all of a sudden, those are up on the damage value. The balanced power, the big one. Bloodbird Behemoth is having a hard time doing anything. It looks like he's just trying to join the downhill fight. These Coldwind Spear Riders are gracefully walking him down the hill just to make sure he gets where he's going nice and safe. Don't want anybody to get hurt on the battlefield. That'd be bad. That's looking like it for Khorne. It's just the Gorgon and Valkia, really. Like, you have some Marauders here that aren't going to do too much. Is this a tournament? Yeah, it's the ODM tournament's top 16 and top 8. The top 4 will be live Sunday. It's just hard to schedule so many players all to get together on the same day. So this tournament does play as you can until the top 4, and the top 4 will be live. Tactical Lich and myself will be casting that together. It'll be a good fun. And it'll be on the new patch. So that's cool. Alright, how are we doing elsewhere? Anything else happening? Not really, so I will play this on ×2 speed as we watch the Gorgon and Valkia just try and chase a bunch of skinks. Meanwhile, they get kited, and the Khorne player also sees the writing on the wall and gives in as... Ooh, wow, that's a lot of blood coming out of you, my friend. Jesus Christ. You okay? You good? He's not good. Is this live or replays? Top 16, top 8, which we are casting today, will be replays. Top 4 will be live. Rippers did fine. Cold Spear Riders did okay. Feral Cold Ones did fine. Javs did good. Skink Skirmishers did fantastically well. Nice. Racy Maiden Valkia was running around. She was still there at the end of the game. Just couldn't do enough. Gorgon also couldn't do enough. Minos got decent value. Fleshhounds of Khorne did okay. And Marauders got fucking murdered. Goddamn. Marauders of Khorne, you're trash. I hate you. Hopefully someday someone will make you good. But it's not this day. It's not this hour. It's not this time. So the green one advances. We did skip that. I think John FB dropped out. Lenormand Kropep, there was only one replay in the dock. So I had assumed I was not casting that one. Hanniden's DM me on Discord if that's not the case, but I don't know what's going on with that one. So before Caradoc goes to bed, I guess we'll do Caradoc versus myself in what I'll say were some pretty banger-ass games. Bretonnia versus Empire was our game 1. I hadn't actually played this since Warhammer 2. Play a lot of Empire, but just not a lot of Bretonnia versus it.
Very well.
Gorgon didn't die? Yeah. Alright. So for me and the Empire, I do have 2 Empire Knights on each flank. They're pretty good against Bretonnia, not because they deal damage, but because Bretonnia really has to invest in questing Knights to do a lot of damage to Empire Knights. They're just cost-effective blockers. I have 3 Huntsmen, 3 Handgunners, one of which is the Silver Bullets. We have some Halberdiers in the secondary to run up and support the front line if they need it, and a front line of Spearmen and Swordsmen. Then I have Balthazar Gelt on foot with just Final Transmutation to keep it nice and cheap and go wide with the Empire. On the side of Bretonnia, we do have triple mounted yeoman archers. I thought there were 3. I could be mistaken. I see at least 2. Front line of peasants and men-at-arms. Back line of peasant bowmen. King Lewin Leoncoeur up in the sky. We do have a Damsel of Life with Dwellers Below and Earthblood. Then we have Knights of the Realm, Knights of the Realm, Questing Knights, Knights of the Realm, and Questing Knights. So 2 Questing Knights, 3 Knights of the Realm, and a bunch of worthless peasants. Now, the ranged trading is going on already. The Huntsmen are not having the best time fighting against those peasant bowmen, and I do need to remedy that pretty soon. But their volume of fire is just a bit oppressive. I don't really want to abandon my backline, though, because I'm worried about all this cavalry. So I'm a bit indecisive about whether my cav should be running back there and stopping him from shooting me, or staying back to protect me. I end up going with the staying to protect me, and instead I'm going to back some of my ranged units off and allow my swordsmen and spearmen to win the frontline fight, and then they can go pressure the archers. Meanwhile, we do eat some charges with our Empire Knights, and then we give Huntsman support and Halberdier support to really try and keep things going, but that is the function of the Empire Knights here, is just to block disruptive and annoying things for me. Huntsmen running away from these men-at-arms. Halberdiers will scoop them up. We are trying to shoot these mounted yeomen and keep ourselves safe, but this is a lot more Bretonnians than this build can handle. They are getting overwhelmed in the back line. Lewin's taking a bit of poke. Mounted yeomen do disrupt some of my silver bullets, and I get a text. I'm sure that's not important right now. So my Empire Knights, their flag is over there, but they're actually right there. These Empire Knights are trying to push off the Knights of the Realm, along with these Halberdiers supporting them. And bounce power is about even. Now, this is a lot of the woes. It's a lot of the woes of the Empire. The woes for Bretonnia is the Empire State troops are pushing through the front line and really harassing those peasant archers. So the peasant archers, only one of them is actually firing to support the fight right now. So both backlines are in utter disarray, which so far I would say is probably favoring Bretonnia, but it's not all bad. Final Transmutation upgraded was cast as soon as the Lion's Shield wore off, so no more spell resist for him. Lewin gets awfully low. He's now getting harassed by handgunners on his way out. But he is dodging very, very nicely, and he'll get back up into the sky. Meanwhile, these questing knights charge straight into my handgunners, and my huntsmen just rout off because they're little cowardly, cowardly bastards. We have some handgunners, some huntsmen coming back, and spearmen walking back. I think they were trying to attack the mounted yeomen, but who knows. Meanwhile, Empire Knights pushing back the last of these knights on the front line, and Halberdiers fighting over there. So again, it's still just both backlines. Both backlines got entirely fucked. Both front lines are doing okay. I guess if you consider the Knights the front line for one side. Gelt's even going to try and block these Knights of the Realm from the silver bullets, but it's just not enough. Meanwhile, in the backfield, I'm still trying to free up some huntsmen. I have some handgunners really pounding down into these questing knights who are killing off other huntsmen, so making them pay a pretty heavy cost for their intrusion. The bounce power is still about dead even. Gelt is doing his best to help out. Halberdier's still sticking to some of these Knights of the Realm, really giving them a go. And I do have one Empire Knight that just ended up in the backfield, and now I'm going to use it to rout off a bunch of things. So we're doing good there. More halberds running in. And can we stop the filthy Bretonnians? Don't know. These handgunners actually do protect themselves from the questing knights. They start to ignore those peasant archers because I do get some rallying Empire Knights behind them that I am pretty sure I can loop over and deal with them swiftly, so it's not worth losing a fight. The handgunners won't beat them in a ranged contest, so I'm just trying to get some distance away from them. But Lewin is behind me. He's just been regenning, chasing off various routing elements, staying safe from handgunners and Final Transmutation and such. Silver Bullets try and punish the Damsel of Life a little bit, see if she was napping. She was not. Caradoc was quite on top of dodging that shot, so that's annoying for me. This Empire Knight is going to chase off all three of these peasants in the back, include the bowmen, so my Sigmar's sons can go elsewhere. We are routing more peasants with our melee troops. Things are looking alright for the Empire. Things are coming back. A little bit like we saw in Game 1 with the Demons of Chaos versus the Empire. The early game got really, really stressful, and then things started to look a lot better. We still have 3 rather healthy Halberdiers. Don't have a lot of ranged units left, to be fair. And yeah, now that we're kind of getting our shit together, things are looking up. Empire's going to reform lines a bit. Bretonia's going to pick off anybody that's caught out, so these handgunners just form up and get a quick volley since they're going to die anyway. Might as well do something. We do have silver bullets. We're going to shoot at those men-at-arms. Again, I know that they have like full ammunition and not a lot of health, so I know they're probably not going to run out of ammo in this fight. Might as well just get the poke out while I reconstitute my forces. Some spearmen getting picked off. Anything else is just trying to group up. Empire Knights chasing off more random peasants. We're doing good, I think. Bit of fast forwarding, quick dwellers below, dodge it decently, though it does take half health off one of my halberds. Meanwhile, those Empire Knights that were chasing stuff get caught by Lewin and his goons. So I think I'd turn and try to get them to fight this Knight of the Realm that's almost dead. Do you get attack orders or not really? Not really. Peasant Bowmen also help out there. Those Empire Knights are doomed. Meanwhile, we've rallied a Huntsman. Hooray, Huntsman! With that, now the Empire does have all their infantry together, though unfortunately that is mostly what it is. It's mostly just infantry. We have 2 very, very wounded ranged units, a very wounded Empire Knight, and a crap ton of pointy sticks. Start to harass Loon with the silver bullets. I know he's mostly baiting me, but again, these guys are never going to run out of ammo in their current condition. They are going to die first, so I thought some of the bullets at least hit him, and I have nothing better to do. Lewin does start to land. He has the Lion Shield popped. Again, we are waiting for the Lion Shield to wear off before we cast our Final Transmutation. And we have Spears and Empire Knights trying to just stop him, though he does, with the glee, tear out my Silver Bullets and my Huntsman once again. Lion Shield wears off. Am I not in range? Gelt's trying to come over, so he's definitely trying to cast it. You would think he'd be in range at that distance. There we go. So I know the Lion Shield down. I can hit him with this. Overcast Final Transmutation. Just trying to knock him out. We could have waited for Knights, but Caradoc's a good enough player that I know if I cast the Final Transmutation on multiple units, he is going to separate them out and really just get rid of that damage, so I thought I would just focus on sniping down Lewin. Meanwhile, Spearmen getting countercharged by Questing Knights and Men-at-Arms. We're still pushing up, but without any ranged units, and with only melee spears left, I'm just going to get cycle charged by Cav down, so I surrender pretty quickly after this point. Once really looking around, assessing the situation, it's just like, alright, we can't win. If he AFK'd and threw all of his guys into my guys and just let himself die, then maybe. But yeah, we throw out another Final Transmutation. It catches some Knights around, catches Lewin a little bit. But I know it's just not going to be enough. He can cycle charge and keep healing up so much that I just can't overcome him. I was frustrated because I lost this game while up on damage value, but healing is pretty fucking strong. So healing cap on Lewin, healing all these Knights a little bit over time, healing all this stuff, does in fact make it hard to win video games. Fucking healing. So much healing! Has Hubus ever made it past round 1? That's actually a myth. I make it past round 1 quite a lot. I made it to the top 16 of this tournament, goddammit. Anyway, Empire Knights did fine. They did exactly what I needed them to. Silver Bullets also did quite well. I was happy overall with the functioning of my build. The problem was just, like, some misplays. There was a lot of indecisiveness at the start, where you saw my Empire Knights were like, do we go stop the archers? Do we stay here? Do we go there? Do we stay here? And I decided to stay here, but if I had decided to stay here, I should have backed my Huntsman off sooner because they were losing the trade with the Peasant Bowman. That's just some matchup unfamiliarity because I would have assumed that Huntsman would win that, but then they were trading about even, which is losing because my unit's more expensive. So some early game mistakes due to unfamiliarity with the matchup did end up costing me later. But otherwise, it was a super close game, so it's not like, oh, this side clearly did all these things wrong. It's like, I mean, yeah. Little mistake in an otherwise super close game means a side that didn't make the mistake is going to be advantaged. Lewin was nice at just routing a bunch of stuff off. Questing Knights and Knights of Rome did their job. Mounted Yeomen were also kind of cool. It's just harassment-like pseudo-dog pieces. They're not really meant to do too much raw DPS. They just chase things that get routed by Lewin and the other Knights. So my frontline won, his Cav won, and then in the end, I had a box of spears, and he had Cav, and he could cycle charge it, so. ZGG. It was a good one, though. It was, in fact, a good one. On to game 2. So being down a game, I did resort to playing the Scum Elves. Should have brought crossbows over Huntsman. I've been having issues with crossbowmen being, like, really sad. I don't know why. You lost in the second? Yeah. Alright. So trying to get a free win with Dark Elves here. I did bring Malekith on his cold one because I had some problems with dragons attacking Slann, so I decided to just put him on his cold one and be a little cheaper. We do have Soul Stealer, Bleak Sword frontline, triple Witch Elf backline, Dark Riders running around. We have 2 Scourge Runner Chariots and 2 Shades, plus the Crows of Cain. I ditched Cold One Knights because they have failed me a lot in this matchup, and I said fuck them, so I got Witch Elves instead. You think you had 1 more Dwellers on Winds of Magic? Yeah. Caradoc, yeah. I wasn't saying I shouldn't have FF'd, I just FF'd to not waste your time cycle charging my halberdiers. My halberdiers were for sure dead. On the other side, we do have triple horned one. I think. I know there's triple horned one out there, I'm just having troubles finding them. There are 3, right? The fuck? Where's the other one? That's a Bastildon. Feral cold ones, feral cold ones. Okay, maybe just 2 horned ones. Damn, I thought it was more than that. Feral cold ones, some cold one riders mixed in there, a bunch of skink cohorts with javelins. We do have a Bastildon with Rev Crystal, 2 Saurus Spears, cohort of Sotai, Right Crystal Skinks, and Salon Mage Priest of Life with Flesh to Stone and Earthblood. Witch Elves got murdered by the Blood Statuette of Spite, plus 2 different javelins hitting them at the same time, so they are already gone. The front lines have engaged. Scourge Rune Chariots are tracking down the Salon after they did a lot of damage to the horned ones, and I do have some Shades hitting a rampaging cold one, horned one. And they do a lot less damage than I was hoping, and I hate the Shades, and Shades are dumb, and stupid, and poopy. Meanwhile, a Banishment plus Skink cohorts disrupted this other Shade. And yeah, Shades free firing into horned ones, I thought they would do a lot more damage than that. They're taking for goddamn ever to kill that thing. It makes me so mad. Meanwhile, Dark Riders and Witch Elves and all that is holding on the north side of the fight pretty easily. South side of the fight is not going our way as Saurus and Skinks just continue to push onto Shades. I have Bleak Swords and Shades fighting these Skink cohorts, and they are bodying the Shades. I did not get upset about that. I definitely didn't get upset that fucking Shades are getting their asses handed to them by Skink cohorts in melee. So then I retreat. I'm just like, fuck this shit. Bleak Swords are going to hit him in the back, and obviously, things are going to be fine. Malekith fighting with a bunch of random nonsense. I don't know, just getting some stuff done. Horned ones are going to charge him, though. And Shades continuing to pound some fire over here, and they didn't do any damage to the Bastildon, which was sad. That was a little sad. And they pretty soon need more orders. Meanwhile, these Skinks are still after my goddamn Shades, and they've nearly killed my goddamn Shades. 21 melee attack, 25 melee defense, 50 melee attack, 32 melee defense. Close fucking fight, apparently. Anyway, Scourge Rune Chariots retreating from horned ones. That's going okay. These Shades are firing feral cold ones now because apparently they can't hit the goddamn Bastildon. They get recharged by horned ones, which is gonna happen. They're gonna take a lot of damage. Meanwhile, the Shades that lost to goddamn Skinks come back and they're like, hey, maybe we'll do something for once this game. And they try to fire into the horned ones, getting a pretty decent volley. Malekith's trying to carry this game. Dark Elves are still ahead despite the goddamn Shades. And they're fine. These Shades actually lived with a lot more health than I would have expected from a horned one's rear charge, so good for you. They are now firing into Source and doing more damage than they've ever done this entire game. The issue is not even Cav, but Lewin's Terror, I guess. Yeah, Lewin was a good piece. Alright, so Shades are now firing into these Source, trying to finish them off. The other Shades are here firing. Scourge Rune Chariots are still hitting the horned ones an awful lot. And we do have a Salon in a big old fight with some Dark Riders and Bleak Swords right now. And seeing that he's at half health, I'm like, oh, maybe Malekith can get in here and do some stuff. We use a quick Soul Stealer. I have a little bit of health I need healed up, but I was mostly trying to clear out these Cold One Riders and Feral Cold Ones so that Malekith could get through them and snipe out the Salon. Both Horned Ones are very, 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 very injured. Both their heal caps are within sight, and Shades are still trying to shoot at Red Crested Skinks. Alright, these other Shades retreating from Skink cohorts. Scourge Runner still trying to harass these Horned Ones down. And Malekith was unfortunately peeled away from the Salon Mage Priest by these goddamn Cold One Riders. I broke them now, so I am out and about after the Salon, gonna take him down. Crows of Cain fighting valiantly against the Horned Ones who are still holding, and these Horned Ones back in on the fight. Scourge Runner's running low on ammunition, and these Shades are just doomed, so I do use the time to just murder these guys with Scourge Runners doing a lot of damage, but they are getting Revivification Crystal healing as well. And they're cheap to disrupt shooting pieces? That's true, but that one Skink bodied my Shade with Dark, the Bleak Sword support. I don't know how he fucking bodied my Shade like that when I had support. You were attacking a better unit, and I had support, and I lost! Anyway, Malekith fighting Horned Ones that did sacrifice themselves to save the life Salon. Meanwhile, my last Shade is disrupted by Horned Ones and Feral Cold Ones and more Feral Cold Ones. Scourge Rune Chariots are running out of ammunition. This one is in fact out. The other one is over there, so both of them are out of ammo. Things are starting to look bad for them. So much Dark Elves. What about them makes them strong / popular? A little bit up to chat to answer. Average Shades experience. Dude, yeah, I have no idea how your skinks did that much damage. You and I were talking after the game, and I was like, dude, did you see those shades? And you're like, yeah, I disrupted them. And I'm like, you didn't disrupt them! You murdered them with a unit that costs half as much! Like, how? The stats don't line up! It doesn't make any sense! Anyway. Oh, it made me so fucking sad, man. You killed so many shades with that fucking skink! Anyway, the Slawn is almost heal capped. The Horned Ones are getting close to their heal cap. Coldwind Riders' heal cap is also within sight. Hey, the Horned Ones, also quite a lot of healing on them. Malekith and the Scourge Runners trying to chase down the Slawn, trying to take it out. Revivification Crystal throws out another heal onto the Horned Ones. And ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned to Hanadins, when I was definitely not mad at all, I, at this point in the game, am about 2,000 damage value up. It don't matter. It don't matter. They get 55 goddamn health bars. They keep healing. He throws an Earthblood. He throws a regrowth out. There's so much goddamn healing. I can't get through it. I can't get through it. Malekith gets stuck in a blob. He is about the only thing left. We do have some Crows of Cain coming back, but the regrowth and Earthblooded Horned Ones are back at it. Still fighting. Crows of Cain dive in. I'm trying to save up for a Soul Stealer, but it's not looking like it's going to happen as my Scourge Run Chariots are torn apart by Horned Ones. Crows of Cain continue fighting. Malekith continues fighting, but it is just too late for the Dark Elves. GG. Sorry, Human Boy, I don't think there's nothing wrong with this game. I think that was just unlucky. Do you think they were offering their back? What? Hold on. I don't want to obsess over this game too much, but I'm curious what you're talking about. Offering their back? I don't think that was true. There. I only put the blocker up so you couldn't see the other game scores. Darkblade with solo? Yeah, I was talking to Caradoc after the game. The Shades thing was the only thing that was actually upsetting. Like, healing being strong isn't like, I didn't know healing was strong, right? We know healing's strong. But those Shades dying like that was pretty fucking brutal for my chances in the game. But I did talk to Caradoc. I think I should have brought Malice and Fate of Unicaster, because like one Fate of Una on each Horned One in this game would have been wildly different, but I mean, Caradoc also just played really well. Faux show, for show. Okay, so where's the Doomed Shade? So this Shade gets banishmented. And he's at that much HP. I'm not presenting my back to them. You liar! You liar! So the Shades get involved in melee combat. I try to back up a little bit. And they get involved in melee combat still. And at this point, I'm just like, fuck it, fight them. And then realizing I'm taking equal damage to them while my Bleak Swords are also hitting them, I try to retreat because it's not worth it. And then they fight to the very end. But yeah, those skinks just like, they got probably really good melee RNG in there, but they lasted forever. Because with 45 melee attack, Bleak Swords attacking them, their 25 melee defense apparently held up, while my 32 melee defense versus their 21 melee attack did not hold up. So, some of that's a little unlucky. You can't look me in the eye and say, Shades plus a Bleak Sword surrounding a skink, it should go about even on damage. I refuse to believe that. Check the value of skinks. Shit. I fast forwarded through the game. I'm not gonna go through the game a third time. I know your skinks got like 600 apiece, because there was also those two that wrecked a Witch Elf. So all your skinks, your skink jabs did very, very well. Skill issue? It's also a skill issue. Like, I do hate if it becomes like a discussion of like, you know, if one thing goes wrong, that's the entire game. It's like, no, it's It was one funny thing that I knew I wanted to talk about in the replay because I thought it was funny and I could do the shrieky voice. But, I mean, Caradoc played really well around that, right? Like, he earned the dub. He 100% earned it. Funny, haha, silly things happening does not discredit his win. Okay. Next up, we have Tretch and Marco Magno. Cool. Marco Magno and Tretch, there you are. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to keep the blocker up for this entire game because I care about you. This isn't about me. This is about you, okay? We're going to do this whole game with the blocker. We're gonna. ODM Marco Magno. Now, around the blocker, which you definitely can't see anything, we have a cool faction. I think it's Greenskins. Yep, it's definitely Greenskins versus, maybe Beastmen. It's definitely Greenskins and, Beastmen over there. That's what's happening. Okay, so we have Grimgor and the Torox, the brass bullfighting, and it's very nice, and it's very neat, and oh fuck, the blocker fell down. Oh god, it's High Elves versus Dark Elves. Oh, Jesus Christ. Maybe charge bonus help the Skinks, maybe. There's not one shade is how this game was decided. Yeah, but I made other mistakes too, right? What up, Android Poetry? Okay. So memes aside, we have High Elves versus Dark Elves. It's just like our 90th Dark Elf game today. That was the bit. 4 Cold One Knights, Blackheart Corsairs mixed with Bleak Swords to punch through the High Elf front line. Dark Shards with shields, and that is a very wide Dark Elf army. Helped out by a Supreme Sorceress of Death with just Fate of Buna and Spirit Leech, but no expensive Malekith, no Malice, and a caster. While those are very strong, they're also very expensive, so this is a wide Dark Elf front. On the side of the High Elves, we have White Lions to try and contest the Blackheart Corsairs, but the Dark Shards are ripping those ones a new one on top, and these other ones are sharing a similar fate. Their missile resist will not protect them from all of that. Lothern Seaguard and some spears to offer support, with more infantry in the back, a Mage of Life to heal up Imric, and Imric in the sky himself. When I see these builds, I get very concerned that the High Elves don't have any mobility. Like, literally 0 cavalry. Your Lothern Seaguard are still spears, that's cool, but effective cycle charging and stuff can still shut them down at least and stop them from firing too much. I don't know. I get worried when the High Elves cede all mobile advantage at all. Who is Dark Elves? Tretch. Tretch is Dark Elves. I think. That's how it was labeled, but we'll check afterwards. Yeah, it's not going to tell me right now. Anyway, Dark Elves firing into the White Lions, really dealing a good number on them, though the White Lions held back the Dark Elf advance better than I would have thought, damage-wise, not time-wise. It hasn't been a lot of time, but the Dark Elves and the High Elves have taken a lot of damage. Big Fate of Buna onto the White Lions, interesting choice, though I suppose, yeah, looking around, there's not a lot of good targets. My heart was saying Dragon Princes, but there aren't any, so who cares. Lothern Seaguard fighting to hold off Cold One Knights that are now inundating them. Blackheart Corsairs got on Lothern Seaguard too. They will do very well over there. And the Dark Shards are doing their best to tip this fight, but the front line went horribly for the Dark Elves. Jesus Christ. They got murked. And now Imric is even pushing through to the back line, is going to shut down these Dark Shards, who did a lot of damage to him. That's cool, that's cute, but Regrowth does have something to say to you, and it is full health Imric on the way. Yeah, the High Elves are feeling solid right now. They're feeling good. Dark Shards tearing apart that White Lion, as is their birthright. But without a lot of melee units left, you could get the problem of like Lothern Seaguard just getting scrapped together on the sidelines and then Imric charging around and killing all your Dark Shards. Could be a problem. Game's not over for sure, but I think the High Elves did way better in the front line than I would have thought. Man, those Dark Shards are tearing up that hillside fight. Honestly, both sides took a lot of damage from the Dark Shards, but you take those. Lon Seaguard getting inundated over there. Spearman full health, but fighting cold ones. Actually, that's exactly where they want to be. And the last healthy Lothern Seaguard is now surrounded by Bleak Swords and Cold Knights, so he will be ground to dust. And his leadership's not even going to hold very long. Damn. Imbric's still rather healthy for the High Elves. The Lifecaster is literally full HP for them. And I wonder if they can stop these Dark Shards from really murdering Imric, as he does get a nasty breath attack down. Does some damage to some Cold Knights, but actually doesn't do that much. He might have wanted to save that for the full health Dark Shards. Though, I suppose at this point in the game, he's very unlikely to get a sideways shot down them, because all the Dark Shards are probably going to try and aim at him. Imric lands, takes a Spirit Leash, but he will quickly rout off all these Cold Knights, either through terror or otherwise. So he should be fine. That being said, the Dark Elves have scrapped back in this a lot better than I thought they would. At first, when their front line all went to 5% HP, I thought they were kind of fucked. And then they all stayed at 5% HP. Forever. And pushed through. Imric is routing them off in the backfield, but there are 1.5 million Dark Shards waiting to make his acquaintance, and Spearmen in the backfield are desperately chasing down their Druchii cousins. But with the same speed and Black Arc Corsairs faster than them, just poking them down, it's going to be tough for the High Elf Spearmen to really get a lot done. Imric is getting left alone by the High Elves. Not alone enough, as these Dark Shards are really whittling him down. Looks like we might get a rare Dark Elf victory. Sarcasm. Yeah. All right. I thought the High Elves had that in the mid game, but Dark Elves really clung to the edge of life. I saw Strat Game gave a donation. I was just finishing casting the game. I'm gonna scroll up and find that. Caradoc, that could be true. They have 3 times more models. They are surround every shade. Maybe. I was just not expecting it. So then when this 400 gold skink was just sticking to my shade and like killing them, I was like, just die! Thank you for the cast. Really good tournament. Thanks for the cast. Anytime, Strat Game. Anytime. All right, how are we doing on time, actually? Pretty good. Good. Ooh, my tea. Is it still boiling hot? Oh. Sorry, catch you up with that. Dark Elves got it? Yeah. Josh, you were right. GG. Alright, Deathcaster did fine. Cold Knights struggled to really get their value back, but there was no large things for them to fight. Dark Shards did well in the late game, and the Black Arc Corsairs did fantastically well in the front line. Imric really struggled to get a lot going. He just didn't have anything to fight. He's not the best crowd clearer. He's just an insane duelist. And if you just take a Supreme Sorceress of Death and walk away from him the entire game, he has nothing to duel. So a rough time for him. White Lions did well holding the front line, but they did get shot to death by Dark Shards. Lothern Seaguard paid for themselves across the board. Mostly, I think only that guy missed it, really. A couple missed it. And Spearmen, they never pay for themselves. They just hold. So that is a win to Tretch. Game 2. I'm gonna move the blocker. All right, so this is the game we're casting. now. So Tretch is on Bretonnia, and he's fighting, I guess, Empire would be my guess. I don't know what faction could possibly still be behind the blocker. And I think that's the fun. You know, sometimes I think that's the fun, is not knowing who's behind the blocker or what's going on. In front of us, we clearly see which Imperials. We see Imperial Cold Rider ones. We see Swordsmen, of course, the classic Swordsmen. As for the... Oh, hey, the Bretonnian army! Okay, cool. All right, let's take the blocker down for the Bretonnian guys. Put it back in place so we don't reveal any future replays, but... All right, so Bretonnia, hell yeah. Hell yeah, bruh. We have the Green Knight. And this is Tretch. They switched sides for this replay, so the other one must have sent it in. But Fey Enchantress, Dwellers Below, and Earthblood. We have a Grail Relique, a Paladin, the Green Knight, a bunch of peasant mobs, men-at-arms, polearms, some archers. We do have questing knights and knights of the realm mixed in throughout here, and more spears, but It's a bit of a peasant tide. On the other side, fuck, it's Dark Elves! God damn it, it's goddamn Dark Elves! It's just Dark Elves! Everybody's Dark Elves! It's just Dark Elves over and over again! Hey, did you see the Dark Elf game? Which fucking one? Okay. We've calmed down a little bit. Bleak Swords and Witch Elves charging across the front line. We do have some Cold One Knights. Malice! Darkblade, who actually just started reading his book, and it's very good. Fate of Yuna and Spirit Leech Caster, because of course we do. And then more Cold One Knights and Dark Riders on the other side. We do have a quick Chalice of Potions coming in from the Fey Enchantress to rout off these Witch Elves. Bam! Does a lot of good damage to them. Meanwhile, Malice is going absolutely nuts in the backfield. Nice to see so much Green Knight lately. Yeah, he's pretty cool. The Empire of Druchi. Thanks, Strat, for your constant support of the channel. Yeah. I don't think he's on my official Patreon. He might be now, but I know that, like, for the longest time, he donated the most money of anybody to the channel. By far. And he wasn't even a patron. Anyway, Fate of Yuna is hitting some Knights of the Realm. I'm sure that meant to go into Questing Knights, but it's hard to tell because all their banners look the goddamn same. And, oh, that is going to be an instant rampage when they fight the Sisters of Singing Doom at that low of HP. So that is a dead Knights of the Realm. We do also have a Dwellers Below coming down from Bretonnia, but the Dark Elves are going to avoid it quite nicely. So good stuff there from Marco Magno. The Witch Elves are pushing in. A lot of peasants are dying, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of peasants are dying. So things are going all according to plan for good old Bretonnia. Witch Elves, Dark Riders, and Cold One Knights are a little mucked up on some Shattered Knights of the Realm. They do want to move on. And it is a mass rout from Bretonnia, but Bretonnia is up on the balance of power. We might see the Dark Elves lose for somebody other than me today. Goddamn fucking shades. Anyway. Questing Knights now surrounded on all sides by Cav, though most of his Dark Riders. You still have some Cold Knights in here, and they are getting good damage out. And Malice is he's in a bit of a pickle, fighting the Fae and a Paladin, and maybe the Green Knight, though we do have Cold Knights offering some support. We have Questing Knights offering some support on the other side. So really, it's just a big old mixed bag over there. Big character duel. Malice is going to throw down the Demon's Curse, lowering everybody's melee defense and leadership. And Bleak Swords and, ooh, the Sisters of Singing Doom are going to be huge for this fight. Potentially rampaging the Paladin, rampaging these Questing Knights. Yeah, that's going to be tough, because then you can't order them to actually attack the right targets. They might get distracted by Bleak Swords and shit. Goddamn. Spirit Leech onto the Green Knight. Fey Enchantress trying to heal all that up. Meanwhile, how are we doing elsewhere? Awful lot of peasants still around for good old Bretonnia. The Cav's looking a little tired. The Dark Elves Cav is doing a bit better on the whole. Malice is 3v1ing like a champ. His Bleak Sword's obviously giving him a bit of support, but he's doing good. He's doing his best. Go, Malice, go. The other side, Cold One Knights and Bleak Swords trying to stop these archers from firing in. The Men-at-Arms polearms are actually going to get pretty good damage on the Cold One Knights, though, so they have to be careful they don't stay there for too long. And yeah, more Cold One Knights cycle charging Men-at-Arms a bit, trying to catch them unbraced. Malice still fighting. Heal cap not within sight just yet. More healing coming in from Fey Enchantress and her lads. Another Chalice Potion onto another Witch Elf. We'll see if the Sisters Singing Doom even notice it's happening, even try to dodge. It looks like that answer is a big fat no, as even more Dark Riders and Cold One Knights dive in. They realize, oh shit, and start to run away. It is too late for the oh shit. They all take a lot of damage. Malice decides maybe 3v1 isn't the best format for me, and starts to try to walk away. Dark Elves are coming back on the balance of power, starting to really push the Bretonians around. The last of these Knights trying to hack it, but having a hard time. Malice deciding, I can't escape, I guess I might as well fight, is fighting the Green One and the Paladin and the Fae. I'm curious he's really going after the Green One. You'd think he'd want to snipe the Paladin real quick. Malice getting low. If he fails to pop his Zarkan, he's in big trouble, but it looks like he's not going to let that even get close to happening. He pops his Zarkan, he throws out the Reaper of Souls, which is going to do a bunch of damage. It actually does a good amount of damage to single entities, and he is absolutely bossing the Green Knight right now. More Cold Knights diving into support, and the Paladin even routs. Dark Elves take the lead. And when Bretonnia starts to rely on just peasants, you know the game has gone horribly awry, and horribly awry it has gone. Fey Enchantress almost dead. Green Knight rushes to her defense, trying not to let Malice get one more big hit on her, because if he does, she'd have 1,500 HP, but she might rout at that point, is all I'm worried about. Malice does make contact. He walks straight through her model. I saw that. You can't tell me I didn't see it. He walked straight through her. Anyway, Malice is being dumb. Green Knight, heal cap in sight. Cold Knight still running around. But yeah, Dark Elves have better infantry at this point. They have better cav support. And they have arguably better single entities. Things are just looking up for them in general. The Fey Enchantress gets absolutely bodied by the Meme Blade. that'll be that. Probably. Rampaging peasant mob trying to protect her. That's cool. Something happened to the sorceress to death. I imagine it involved the Green Knight. But whatever it was not enough. Fey Enchantress gets slapped down from her Pegasus. Floaty cam. There, you found her. And the Dark Elves win again. Dark Elves equals the Empire. Yee. I want to see the value for the Enchantress. 3,400 for the Fey Enchantress. Malice, 2,200. 1,000 on the Deathcaster. Cold Knights got pretty good value. Dark Riders did fine. Peasants killed the caster. Lol. Witch Elves did well overall. I mean, one of them got wrecked by a Chalice of Potions, but the two that didn't get wrecked by a Chalice of Potions did well. Bleak Swords also pushed to the front line. For Tretch, Zifei got 3,400. Paladin did okay. Green White did honestly fine. Knights of the Realm and Questing Knights, mixed. The Peasants, Polearms did well. The other Peasants, mixed. But GG. It was a close game, honestly, as far as games go. It's just Malice went burr. So it's 1-1. Dark Elves winning into Dark Elves winning. But game 3 could not possibly have more elves, human boy. We had Dark Elves. We had High Elves. We had Dark Elves again. There's no more! There's no more elves left in the whole world, human boy. And I said, I know. We get to see some cool factions, you guys. We get to see, in game 3, ladies and gentlemen, we get some real shit, okay? No fucking elves. We get to see some cool factions, maybe some mortal factions, maybe the Beastmen, maybe the Greenskins. You don't know what's behind the blocker. You don't know shit. You don't know nothing. And the bit's over. It's fucking Wood Elves versus goddamn Vampire Counts. It's more elves. It's more counts. It's all it is. That's all it is. And if you don't like it, then maybe you should play a game with more than 4 factions. Wait, this one has 23? Well, fuck! Hi, Hazel. Hazel got worried because they were shouting. All right. Let's go. Wood Elves. The most exciting of the 3 elves. We don't see a lot of them recently, but it was funny for the meme. I'm not actually mad to see Wood Elves. We don't see a lot of them these days, so it is actually an exciting pick. I was just being funny. We're just having a little fun arena. But 2 Deepwood Scouts. I should say 1 Deepwood Scout, because that one is dead as hell, as the Dire Pack catches it. So we had 2 Deepwood Scouts before that one bit the dirt. We have 2 Glade Guard with Hagbane tips. We have Zotes, Firebark Elders Treekin. We have Eternal Guard, War Dancers with Azrai Spears, a Branch Wraith with Melkots and Earthblood, Orion of the Wild Hunt, and that's about it for the Wood Elves. So a little bit of archers, a lot of pointy sticks. For the side of the Vampire Counts, we have quadruple Vargeist. We do have the Dire Pack, Dire Wolves, Blood Knights, so 2 Blood Knights, 4 Vargeist, and the Dire Pack. And the Dire Pack deciding that they were getting shot while they were running away, so they were just too low, they were going to crumble to their death. They decided to just dive in and get what value they could out of the last moments of their life. We do have a Crypt Horror, 5 zombies, no masturbating necromancer, nobody stroking their forbidden rod back there. It's just Manfred. He has Spirit Leech, Invocation to Heck, and the zombies. But with 4 Vargeist, 2 Blood Knights, and the Dire Pack, that is a lot of money. So the rest of the Vampire Counts roster is going to be extremely nerfed. A beautiful Breath Attack catches 2 archers from Manfred, really whittling them down. And the Vargeists tried to dive in, but just did not have any luck with that at all. Zotes and Spears were ready to meet them, and the War Dancers still aren't giving up. Even when their opponent's flying, they're still chasing them. I know there was one on the ground, but these guys were awful optimistic, sprinting after a flying thing like, I can catch it. No, you can't. It is flying. You are an elf. Meanwhile, more Vargeist dive in, surrounded by Zotes and Spears immediately. Orion is also going to get some poking in, and it looks like the Wood Elves are kicking some serious ass right now. It's not feeling good to be a Vampire Count. As Vampire Counts commit even further to the blob fight, these Vargeist just surrounded by anti-large, armor-piercing everything. having a very bad day of it, and Orion makes them also regret it. Meanwhile, the Branch Wraith is solo killing Manfred, because easy peasy. So easy peasy, the Eternal Guards don't even offer to help. They're like, fuck it, she's got it. And the Branch Wraith pushes off good old Manfred. I keep wanting to say Malice for some reason. Eternal Guard, but these Vargeist, man, they're getting nothing done cycle charging spears like this. It's just not, it's not the play. It's not the play. Blood Knights now diving into the lines, getting some of these archers with the disruption that the Vargeists did cause, and Cryptors are joining in as well, but these zombies aren't here to eat any of the damage, so all these expensive large pieces are diving onto spears, and the spears have nothing to attack but expensive large pieces. So this is not working out at all for the vampire counts, and they are falling very far behind in, like, game state. Balanced power says it's about even, but game state-wise, the counts have taken a lot of oopsies. Branch Wraith's taking some damage, but she does have Earth Blood to heal herself back up after that nasty Spirit Leech. Blood Knights are in here bumping and grinding, though both of them falling to about half HP. Vargeists are even starting to see their healing caps. One of them is about to die from crumbling. I don't think it can be rallied, not fully anyway. And how are our Wood Elf friends doing? 2 of their archers are completely toast. 1 of their archers is back momentarily, though it is about to get dove by a Vargeist and there's no one around to help it. So it looks like the Wood Elves have lost most of their archers. But the spear blob is very much alive. And the vampire counts just dive in, trying to get some damage value up. But man, there are Eternal Guard. Man, there are War Dancers in here. Color me concerned. And then a rear charge from more Eternal Guard and the Firebark Elders. This is going to be a disaster for the vampire counts. And they didn't even finish off the Glade Guards. They are getting shot from the outside. This is a whoops. I'm feeling a whoops. On the far side, Blood Knights are chasing off the archers. So we can see all 4 archers. There's only 2 that have any feasible impact on this game. And if they are effectively chased off, then that will be fine. Vampire counts really committing this blob fight without any of their infantry support is hurting them so bad right now. Vargeist starting to peel off now. It might be too late for them. We'll see. 2 of them are crumbling. That one rallied. 1 of them's crumbling. Manfred is still healing. He's doing his best. Spirit leeching down the Branch Wraith. Blood Knights are going to ram the last Glade Guard that was chilling. Wow, that Glade Guard took, like, no damage on that charge. What the fuck? I mean, they're getting beat up now, but on the charge, they took nothing. Manfred surrounded, trying to get out. The fact that this game is close is actually bothering me a lot, because the Wood Elves played a good amount better. I don't want to be a dick. It's just, like, mistakes get punished, and for the vampire counts, it's like, ha! What mistakes? My Vargeist is full health. See? You're like, the fuck? I almost killed that thing. Big breath attack from Manfred, coming down into the middle. Hits an Eternal Guard. Does a little bit of poke on 2 more Eternal Guards, but as long as the War Dancers, wherever they are, healthy and happy, then that's fine. Spear Blob of the High Elves is spear blobbing on. Deepwood Scouts actually return. Alright. Branch Wraith getting Spirit Leeched yet again. Just going to counter it with an Earth Blood. Because Manfred says, I have a fun spell. And she's like, I do too. And neither of them does anything with that time. Vargeist disintegrating down. At this point, I'm going to plan fast forward because blood fights are very, very interesting. But Orion is whooping Manfred's ass. Manfred is dead. And without him, the army immediately falls apart. Because all the rest of that shit was zombies. And it has the cost of, like, 1 of these Eternal Guard. So yeah, that was a whoops. Orion did well. Branch Wraith did fine. I mean, she was just casting Earthblood. Zotes actually paid for themselves, which is an exciting new concept. War Dancers did well. Deepwood Scouts did fine. Archers did well. Generally, everything on the Wood Elf roster did great, because versus vampire counts, you're fighting 2.5 of them anyway, so you're going to get your value. Tretch, I like the build. He just got a little ahead of himself. Like, the zombies were nowhere near the fight when the Vargeists were going in, and then it got awkward. I know he wanted to shut down the archers, but, like, good vampire counts play is also very bad to watch, but it's because it's so goddamn slow. But there's a reason it's so goddamn slow, is you just gotta wait for some zombos. So, not really great value on anything here. Blood Knights did okay. GG. Tresh doesn't play VC often. Yeah, it's hard to play VC often these days because it gets banned so goddamn much. All right, where are we at? Where are we at? So we saw Caradoc 2-0 me. Tresh and Marco Magno went to game 3, but Marco did win. That was Marco. I know they were switching sides. I think different people sent in the replays. So Marco advanced 2-1. Lenorm and Cropep had one replay, so I wasn't sure if I was supposed to cast that. Yeah, so I can go find that in a second because I have to re-download it. Cal Harmon and Berserk is up next. Ooh, that should be a good one. That should be a good one. All right, Cal Harmon on his famous Lizardman versus Berserk on the Ogres. Hey, Berserk beat me in a finals of a different tournament. I forget what tournament. With Ogres, and he is using Scrag. Oh, it was Lizardman versus Ogres. Yeah, I remember. I took a Red Crest Skink Chief, and Scrag beat his ass, and I was like, what the fuck? And then I learned that Scrag had bonus versus infantry. That has literally never mattered. Okay. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. ODM versus ODM crime. Yeah. Better to lose in VP. Better to lose on VC than win with them, but keep an honor. Yeah. All right, Lizards versus Ogres. For the Ogres, haven't seen a ton of them today. Actually, hey, let's all take a fucking second. Everybody look at this screen right now. Look at it. No elves, no vampires, just two people living in the moment. Just two people living in the moment. And no life Slon. Okay, all right. This is it. This is it. This is the best game you're gonna get ever. No life Slon, no Rev Crystal. The Ogres took Scrag. Fucking no Dark. This is your time. So put down whatever you're doing. Watch the stream for like 10 more minutes. And then fuck off until the DLC happens. Because this is the only interesting game there's ever gonna be. The only interesting one. Every other game besides this one is shit. Okay, that got a little heated. I'm sorry about that, everybody. I'm not that sorry, but I can pretend to be. 3 Sabertusk packs, 2 Ogre Bowls with dual weapons, 4 regular Ogre Bowls. We do have a Maneater with great weapons, 5 Noblars, Sky Striders, Crushers with great weapons, and we have Scrag the Slaughterer with Brain Gobbler and Troll Guts. He is life? No, he's a high Slon. On the other side for the Lizards, we have Saurus Spears. We have a bunch of Skink Skirmishers, the 400 gold variant. More Saurus Spears, Feral Cold Ones, a high Slon with Soul Quench, Apotheosis, and Hand of Glory. We have 2 basic Stegodons and the ROR Ripperdactyl Rider. Stegodon, yeah, 2 basic Stegs. Bow Stegs. It's not a feral Steg, it's like, it's just labeled Stegodon, but it has a ballast on it. But it's, yeah. Our Kingdoms needs at least 2 Crushers and 2 Lead Belches matchup, else it's harder. Then it's harder, because he didn't bring that shit. Stegodon charging straight in. Somehow the Stegodons have actually used a lot of their ammo already. I didn't think they fired that fast, but apparently just have low ammo counts. And this is a mess. From a casting perspective, I declare this a mess, because I don't even know what the fuck to talk about. There's Saurus Spears grinding along with Feral Cold Ones. Stegodon's charging in, immediately routes off some Sabertusk packs, so that's pretty cool. But the back is just a goddamn disaster. As Colossus Hunters dive down to the Sabertusk, we're trying to catch all these Skirmishers. More Saurus catch that. But everything's just happening all at once. There's Lead Belchers in the back that took a lot of damage from the Stegodons, I guess, because nothing else is fucking back there. So goodbye, Lead Belchers. And the Sky Striders are plowing in with Scrag to try and fight some Saurus Spears, but it's not going super great for them. Where are the Maneater Great Weapons? Where are those guys? Oh, they're back here. Okay. They're looking to maybe get involved now as Lead Belchers fire in upon the poor Lizards. These Saurus raise their little shields on the wrong side of their head as if that's going to help anybody do anything. And Lead Belchers shoot the Sky Striders. The Lizards paid them off with some golden trinkets. They said, hey, if you could just shoot the Sky Striders in the middle of battle, that would be super great. Hey, thanks, kid. And Luther Harkon said trinkets and came back, and now there's VP, and it's a 3-person free-for-all. Lead Belchers continue to shoot their own goddamn Sky Striders Okay, so whenever I need you fuckers to shoot at something that's behind one of my own units, you say you're obstructed, but when you need to shoot at the Saurus behind gigantic-ass Skystriders, you're like, fuck it, send it, and you just shoot your own guys in the back of the head. You're stupid, and I hate you. Meanwhile, the Life Salon is getting kind of killed a little bit by the Skystriders and Scrag, while some Saurus try to protect him, and in the backfield, this Stegodon just fucked over the Lizardmen so hard because they killed their ogre mercenaries that you paid a lot of good money for. So thanks, Stegodon, for nothing, you punk ass. Saurus are overall winning the front line. Ogres still trying to push through them, but Saurus are very, very meaty combatants. And Salon Mage Priest healing himself up a little bit with Apotheosis while trying to retreat. Skink Skirmishers really covering him, and this Stegodon in the backfield did push off those Lead Belchers entirely. He could start firing his giant crossbow at the Skystriders, who are just getting pelted with little skink shots over and over again. The hero cap is within sight, but the Salon Mage Priest of High Magic might actually be dead. And imagine, Mr. Salon Man, if you had Lead Belchers offering you support in this time of need. Oh wait, you can't, because of fucking Philip! Philip the treacherous bitch! Fuck you, Philip! Those Lead Belchers were doing the work of the gods for you! Anyway, Salon's straight up dead, because of Philip. Never forget. Anyway, Riperdactyl Rhinos are trying to dive in. They're trying to do stuff, but Philip! Sorry, I said I'd leave him alone. Stegodons are trying to deal with this. Somehow the Skystriders can terror out, which is weird. You think they would be ITP. They're riding ice space rhinos, and they still can't handle being a little spooky scared. Philip is thinking about rejoining the fight, because he's a little bitch. Meanwhile, Terrence is doing the real work, the real carrying, and the Lizardmen are still up on the balance of power. Skink Skirmishers kiting away from Ogre Bulls, doing good work there. We do have some Skink Skirmishers in the distance that need to come back to the fold. Saurus Spears are collapsing on the fight. The Stegodon, Terrence is holding his best, doing what he can against the Skystriders, who are doing actually a lot of work onto him. Meanwhile, Philip rejoins the fight as if he owns the goddamn place, but he does not! He is in the timeout of shame! Go back to your timeout zone! You leave! You leave! Good boy. Oh wait, fuck, they actually might need you. Come back, come back, come here. Come here. Terrence is routing. Please come back. I'm sorry for the negative things I said to you. Please come back here and win this game. Do not go to the timeout corner, you dumb piece of shit. Clawston Hunters looking for some prey. Saurus Spears are fighting the Skystriders. Where are those Man-Eaters? Are they still alive or did they die off screen? They're right here. Nice. Pretty low on HP. They could get an Overcast Troll Guts or a Butcher and something and be fine. This is actually still a pretty close game. Because lizards are running out of sauce. They are running out of juice real bad. Some Skink Skirmishers are running around. They do decent poke damage, but they're not going to carry a whole game for you. So honestly, a lot of this is on Philip, who's now starting to fire into the Skystriders. We do have one healthy Saurus, two half-health Saurus. I guess the Saurus are also pretty meaty. It depends on how much healing is left for the Ogres. Though, judging by the fact that the Skystrider is straight up heal capped, I don't think they have a ton left in the bank for those Man-Eaters. Skink's really just killing off these Skystriders, and Philip just shot two of them straight up in the face. Now he's firing at the Man-Eaters. I don't know what they can do against such reckless Philip. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough time. Can the traitor, the Forsaken One, really carry this game for the Lizardmen? Wait, was this a power play? You cheeky fuck, was this a power play? You wanted the Salon to die. You wanted to be the Salon now. Sit your little Triceratop ass up on one of those floating stone chairs. No one would notice. No one would notice. You look enough like a toad. It's close. No one can distinguish between you guys. All you lizards look the fucking same. Anyway, Terrence is not going to have it. But Terrence is trying to get in the fight. Terrence is getting awfully low. And he might just die. The sole witness to the treachery of the Lizardmen might just die here. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Philip killed him, because Philip is kind of that sort of asshole. Meanwhile, Saurus are cleaning up. Things are starting to look really, really, really good for the Lizardmen. The Ogres just kind of ran out of steam. And the Stegodons with their nice anti-large... actually, they don't have anti-large missile strength. They just have 340, but whatever. Stegodons were a really neat pick. Focusing down those Lead Belchers, bringing them to like 1/3 HP before the fight even really started. That was nice. And then in the late game, being able to back off with them and just shoot at Man-Eaters and shoot at the Crushers was just really good. It's a nice tech beat from Cal Harmon. And Terrence is going to live. He's going home to tell Maz the Moody about it. Go, Terrence, go. Go. Betray Philip, as he betrayed you. I don't have anything else to say. That ridiculous narrative was like 50% of my brain power, so that's all you get. You see what you did there with Terrence and Philip? So, Scrag is gonna die, and without him, the bounce power will shift into army losses territory, and that'll be a win for the Lizardmen. And a pretty fun matchup from both sides. That was nice. That was a nice one. You kidding me? He's healing nonetheless, human boy. It's a high salon. It's different. It's a different Grimro. Ha. I like that. He's dubious gaming after all. Yeah. High mage on Eagle. Honestly, maybe a high salon. Salons are kind of nuts. Philip just wants you to know you're not his friend, buddy. Staying blessed as a prototype Scourge Runner. Oh, that's true. Hey, it's Benjamosaurus. What up? All right. Cal Harmon, his salon did not get a lot of value. It was mostly a support salon that it died. Stegodons both did actually quite nice. The Reprodactyl ROR also did very well. Sora Spears did, oh my god, almost 2,000 value on the one. Jesus! Very nicely for them. His King Skirmishers were around. They poked some stuff. They did some things. Least original Cold Blood Enjoyer. Steve, if this is not original, I don't know what you need. On the other side for Berserk, Scrag honestly did okay. Sky Striders did well. Maneaters did okay. Leadbelchers got shut down by the surprise Stegodons, but I think that was like, I think that's just a wild build. As soon as he loaded in, I bet Berserk was like, what the fuck am I looking at? And then got kind of bodied by the Stegs. So, GG. It is a show that, like, sometimes a crafty build, not just trolling, obviously, don't just troll, but a build that's, like, functional but maybe not optimal, you can just throw your opponents off because they aren't expecting it, so. That or Cal Harmon could just be a really good player on his main and know what he's doing. But I refuse to believe that. I am instead going to say that everyone should just copy his builds and do equally as well. All right, we're back. It's not Dark Elves. I will take it. You know what? It's fine. We haven't had a lot of High Elves this stream. It's fine. We haven't had VP yet either. They are very strong, but haven't had them this stream. And we have Luther? What the hell? He even has 6 Nobblars. What? Oh, was that a mistake? Okay. Well, it didn't matter because Lizardman player 1. High Elves versus Vampire Coast. What do we got? What do we got? Let me take a look around real quick. 3 Illyrian Reaver Archers. 3 more. What happened to my camera? Okay. 3 Illyrian Reavers. 3 Illyrian Reaver Archers. Ow. Damage. We do have a Princess in the Sky on an Eagle. That's fun. Talisman of Loic and a volley of high arrows for her, plus Foe Seeker, so she is the kiting variant. Mage of Death with just Fate of Buna. And then for the Elven actual army, we have Lothern Seaguard, Archers, some White Lions, Archers, Lothern Seaguard, and Spearmen. Cool. Pretty respectable High Elf army. I like some of the spice. I like some of it. This is cool. Scrag getting any love in the new patch notes? Not that I know of, but I'm going entirely based on what I can see when I click on a unit, and like I take a look at their stats, and if I see 32 melee attack and melee defense, I'm like, was it that before? I don't know. So yeah. I didn't notice anything, but we'll see when the actual patch notes come out. On the other side for Berserk and the Vampire Coast, triple crab mob, one of which is the Lamprey's Revenge ROR that heals itself. We have 5 sword Zambes, Luther Harkon on foot. Then we have a Vampire Caster on foot with Summon and Invocation of Nehek. We do have 2 Bomber Bats, 2 Mortars, and 2 Animated Hulks to force the opponent forward. We also actually have a 3rd Bomber that I didn't notice because it was having a bad day. It was having a real bad day. But it's back home now. It's safe. I think we're going to play at ×2 speed for just a hot second. It is a replay. We're allowed to do that. As the Skirmish Cav is trying to get some poke off and the Mortars are trying to poke the Skirmish Cav, we will speed through this part a little bit until something happens that I need to slow down. Big Fate of Buna onto the bombers, but they're going to get counter-healed with the Invocation to Heck. I wonder if it's even enough. Looks like the Fate of Buna might just outright kill them anyway. Yeah, they're crumbling too much. They're just going to die. Damn. Fate of Buna for an entire bomber bet. That's worth as hell. And good to know. Lane Reaver's still trying to harass a little bit. I think the High Elf player is mostly just happy with how this is going, because you can just use your Illyrian Reavers to fulfill the attacking rule, and as long as the coast are happy shooting mortars at Illyrian Reavers, you don't care. Your Princess is firing off half of her ammunition at stuff. You're getting off Fate of Buna casts on bomber bats. Like, so far the High Elves have been benefiting mostly from this, so they're fine with this super slow game state. Looks like Berserk realizes this, and he's starting to walk out now, but that does leave... He's just abandoned this mortar, because it can't keep up. Oh wait, the flag's just being dumb. Okay, the flag's being dumb. The mortar is actually in the formation. I was like, damn, dude, you're really just gonna leave your mortar to die like that? Anyway, Illyrian Reavers dive in, getting a little bit of damage on the mortars, but the bomber bats actually dissuade them from staying for too long. And yeah, the rest of the High Elf army thinks about maybe joining the game someday, but for now they haven't had to. Illyrian Reaver Cav still just doing some poking, doing some harassing. And that flag is throwing me off so much, but the actual mortar is right here. The flag is just way over there. Okay, a little bit more kiting. We'll fast forward through this real fast. Cha-cha real smooth. Cha-cha now, y'all. I think another Fate of Buna is going to come for that guy. Yeah, I'm a super genius. Goodbye, little bomber bat. Crumbling, no chance he gets saved. We just saw an Invocation to Heck on him, so it's still on cooldown. The High Elf archers are now in range. They have 1,000,000 archers. The only thing they're really worried about is those bomber bats, which have been meaningfully impacted. White Lions take a little bit of a bomber volley, but it just does no damage to them, unfortunately, for the coast. And things are looking rough for Berserk. We'll see if the 3 crabs plus Luther plus a vampire caster can really melee grind out all these High Elves, but it's looking sus. Mortars do get dove on by Illyrian Reavers. These other mortars are just getting shot, and they could get dove on by more Illyrian Reavers, but Coast is losing a lot here, and the Princess diving straight onto the deck bombers. It's just so much threat. The Coast is clearly having issues finding anybody to fight, because every time they turn, like Luther and this lady are running after these Illyrian Reavers, and they just walk away. And then wherever they aren't, the Princess is killing bomber bats in melee. These Illyrian Reavers just ran down some mortars. They're getting led around the map by the nose. That's looking really rough. I don't want to call it too early, but this, I just like don't know how the Coast can really win this at this point. That mortar's toast. It's about to crumble away to nothing. That bomber bat's toast. It's about to crumble away to nothing. It is 3 crabs. Oh, this might be a big moment. Hold on. Because the Princess is on the ground. She's surrounded by gunnery mobs on the crabs. And Berserk even setting up. Yeah, he waited and set up a full surround, so he walked past her a bit, then he clicked on her. So she might be actually stuck. In fact, if she escapes from this, I'm going to be so mad. She is surrounded. Okay, big play from the Coast, and it does bring it back quite a lot on the balance of power. Starting the Princess like that. Surprised she's not taking more damage than she is, to be honest. Thrace and their missile resistance completely shut down VC. Huh. Fate of Buna onto what? Rotting Promethean gunnery mob. Interesting. I suppose you gotta use it on something at this point. The Princess is toast. Does not look like she's getting out of here. She's even hornswoggled and taunted, giving her a melee defense of 0, and she just gets worked down. So the High Elves lose their leader, but thankfully for them, their leader is not their caster, and they're the High Elves. They are not a low leadership faction, so it's not like they're at risk of mass terror routing or anything. And look at all these archers still left. While you're watching that, Illyrian Reavers cleaned up any backline threat that Berserk had thrown at him. So all these archers are free to go. For the Coast, you still have some Pirate Deckhand mobs slowly dying, but you are getting down to pretty much just the crabs. The crabs can be only so many places at once, and they are just going to get pin cushioned by archers the entire time. They have pretty ridiculous armor, but like volume of fire will eventually weigh them down. Any archers that are under attack are going to walk away. Archers that are not under attack will continue to fire. Cavalry is going to occasionally charge in just to be an annoyance, but you can see just the pokey poke not doing a ton of damage because, again, the crabs have insane armor, but you got to get through them all eventually. Deathcaster even diving in herself, interestingly enough. And the Lamprey's Revenge RR is the only one with passive regen. That is important to remember, that the other crab mobs, you don't see them very often, but they don't naturally heal, so they do need to get casts from this vampire lady. And she's been doing what she can, but she doesn't even have arcane conduits. She doesn't have Winds of Magic recharge as fast as other things, so she actually could be out of mana right now. Animated Hulks and one of the Promethean mobs are starting to crumble, and the High Elves just have so much left. And this lady might even have another Fate of Yuna, possibly. I mean, she's cast, what, 3 this game? I don't know if she could have a 4th, but possibly. If she does, that's going on the Lamprey's Revenge for sure. Archers continuing to fire. Vampire Coast just really running out of juice. One of their summons fades. Animated Hulks die off. Leon Reavers even joined the fight. Just charge in. That gunnery mob is gone. That one's almost gone. They'll soon just leave Luther and the Vampire Caster. Goodbye them. Lamprey's Revenge getting close to their heal cap. Getting very, very low. Goodbye Lamprey's Revenge. Now we're down to the foot characters. This does get a little scary because your only spell is Fate of Yuna, so it's not going to do very well versus them. And you are relying on archers who aren't the best versus foot characters. But it's foot Luther and a foot hero caster. It's not like it's Gotrek and Felix or some shit. You know, they're pretty combatants at the moment. He is trying to just get, Cal Harmon is just trying to get that caster to start crumbling away. Accidentally takes a nasty shot on the Mage of Death and she does rout, but she'll be back. She'll be fine. And at last, Army losses hit or Berserk just conceded. But GG. Cal Harmon, 1,700 value on his Lord, 1,200 on the caster. White Lions didn't get too much value, but they didn't have to do too much. Lawn Seaguard, pretty nice. Leon Reaver Archers, pretty good value. Basic Leon Reavers, not great value, but they just ran around and tried to help. And Archers, really good value. On the other side for Berserk, Luther, not a ton of value, though he did not get sniped. Caster did fine. Gun Crabs did nicely. Mortars struggled a little bit. Bomber Bats got murked by Cal Harmon's build. GG. Now it'll be 2-0 Cal Harmon. We did see the Phoenix King in chat. We saw Strat Game a bit too. I don't know if Strat Game's still here. But it looks like I have a replay from you goofs. Yeah, you're down here. Phoenix King and Strat Game. Do have to cast that. Also, Hanadins. Just give me the 0-2. We saw it, Hanadins. We saw it. I got 0-2'd. Don't have to keep rubbing it in by not reporting this card. We saw it. We saw it. Alright. Strat Game versus Phoenix King. Let's go. Is this game 1 or game 2? Which is this? These aren't labeled very well. What the fuck? Okay, there might have been a save error, because these are labeled weird. I need to double check the files. Round of 16. No, okay, these are the ones I have. Weird. Well, if it's wrong, it's wrong. Okay, I don't know which of these games is supposed to be 1, 2, and 3. I just have Strat Game versus Phoenix King. Like, I have replays from them, but they're not labeled as the order I'm supposed to cast them in. So fuck it. But we have our first Skaven game of the day. It's okay. Skaven versus what else? Because also with the pick ban system, part of the pick ban system is the map. So just going by the map isn't reliable, because I don't know what order they picked to do the maps. Go Strat Game? Somebody out there is rooting for Strat. I have a bunch of messages. Okay, hold on. So I do have to update the scorecard 1 second here. And I'm messaging the tournament host about the mislabeled things. So I'm just going to figure out something. All right, that's a 0, but I need the Phoenix King. So while I update the names, I am hopefully getting further context of something. All right. All right. For strat game, we do have triple Poison Wind Globes. We have 4 Night Runners, Ikit Claw and his Doom Wheel with Flensing Ruin. We have a Packmaster and a Chieftain, some Clan Rats, and Rat Ogres. So it's a very mobile, very rush-type build. Quadruple Deepwood Scouts on the side of the Phoenix King. Ooh, 5 Deepwood Scouts. 4 Dryads, some Wild Riders and Glade Riders. Wild Riders and Glade Riders. Then we have a Spellweaver of High Magic with Soul Quench and Apotheosis versus Skaven. So the Skaven, very mobile, trying to keep up with the Wood Elves. The other Night Runners are trying to skirmish with Deepwood Scouts. So I do wonder how that goes for them. Meanwhile, the Chieftain took a bit of a shellacking. Actually, it's a Packmaster. Oh, that's better. He can heal on his own. The Chieftain can only heal if he's next to the Packmaster and they're both in melee combat. Okay. Dryads got murked on the front line by Globes. Now Rat Ogres charge forward to deal with the Glade Rider, and Globes deal with that as well. Another Soul Quench comes in, hits some Rat Ogres, didn't quite hit Ikit Claw who it wanted to. Wood Elves keep charging the cavalry into the front line. They're trying to shut down these Night Runners, but they are just kind of getting mulched at this moment in time. And a Flensing Ruin's coming out of Ikit Claw onto Wild Riders. I don't feel like it does that much damage to Wild Riders. Might have been wanting to use on that Spellweaver for High Magic. But the Wood Elves are shooting in this entire time, so they just opted into the rush. Once they realized that it's not really a box, that most of the front line was Night Runners and stuff, they just threw their cav at it, and Deepwood Scouts are trying to make them pay. But it looks to be going in the Skaven's favor at the moment. I guess a lot of these Clan Rats have routed, and the Night Runners have routed. It just feels like the Wood Elves took a shit ton of damage. Flensing Ruin plus Globes plus all that stuff did push the Wild Riders off. These other Wild Riders are getting murked right now by the Rat Ogres and the Packmaster and the Chieftain. Ugh. It's a bad time for them. Deepwood Scouts really aren't punishing the single entity core at all, though. They're focusing mostly on Rat Ogres, which is an interesting choice. I don't know if it's a bad choice. I chose interestingly, carefully, because I wasn't sure about it. Globes are still alive. The single entity team of the Skaven is still alive. Rat Ogres are holding for now. For the Wood Elves, like, their Deepwood Scouts are all super healthy, as is their caster, but everything else has suffered a pretty terrible fate. Like, all their cav got murdered. Yeah. So Deepwoods are still raining in their fire, killing another Rat Ogre. The only thing the Skaven have to be worried about is maybe, potentially, with all their Rat Ogres dead and their front line taking a lot of damage, maybe in the late game their Globes could just get killed, but I don't know. This is looking real good for them right now. Caster Lady is chasing off some Rat Ogres, some Night Runners just trying to route stuff in the backfield. The Skaven are getting their wits about them. The Wood Elf Deepwood Scouts are still skirmishing around. Okay. Looks like we have a bit of chasing going on for both sides, so I'm going to play it at ×2 for just a second. While the Skaven reform, the Wood Elves are trying to chase off anything that is outside the box, and the Deepwood Scouts are just firing, so we don't really need to watch that at normal speed. We can watch it slightly faster as more Rat Ogres get kind of picked off by the Deepwood Scouts. Deepwood Scouts going to fire at these Clan Rats, but again, there's 3 healthy Globes back here in the single entity squad, and only so much ammo left in these Deepwood Scouts. Cav does charge in for the Wood Elves, going to route off a bunch of things. And a Flensing Ruin from Ikit Claw. Latches onto some Glade Riders. Not the best target, but again, I'm sure he's just like, we'll just kill them all off, and this Spellweaver ever has to land on us, she'll lose to the Chieftain, and the Packmaster are still very healthy, because the Packmaster's healing whenever they're in melee combat. Deepwood Scouts still firing, balance power shifting heavily in the favor of the Skaven at this point. Deepwood Scouts still firing, but they aren't doing enough to the single entity squad just yet. Globes are going to go zone them out. They said either waste your ammo on us or die. Die does appear to be the option, and that is GG. All right, so I understand the labeling now. This was game 2, and then game 3 was the next one. So the score before this game was actually Phoenix King 1-0. The tournament host has told me that the Phoenix King's High Elves beat Ogres, but they didn't save that replay, which happens. So the score going into this game was actually 1-0. The Wood Elf player was up 1, and the Skaven player, strat game, just won. So it's 1-1. Ikit did okay. Chief and Packmaster just kind of were around. They didn't get to fight anybody. They wanted to fight that Eagle Lady if she ever landed, but she didn't. Globes did fantastically. Night Runners, really struggled to get value. Clan Rats did okay. Most of the value you're not going to see on the Skaven side, though, because it was the Deepwood Scouts using all of their ammunition and not paying for themselves. But the Skaven don't get value for that. The Wood Elves just lose value. Highcaster didn't do too much. Dryads got largely tanked. Glade Riders and Wild Riders also got murdered. So it was a low-value game for, like, everybody. 1-1. And now we go to the game 3, which is this. Okay. Dwarves versus Beastmen. No Dark Elves. How often can units route before they flee the battlefield? You get 2 routes, and the third one will shatter. Feels illegal. They aren't ODM. They're not allowed to. They're not allowed to be ODM. Deepwood's underwhelming? Yeah, they did not do a lot. So for the Phoenix King, we have the Dwarves. Front line of Dwarf Warriors and Longbeard. Secondary line of Miners with blasting charges. And then a whole bunch of Quarrelers. Ulthar's Raiders, Rangers with great weapons. Dragonback Slayers and regular Slayers. Thoric Ironbrow is the build. For the Beastmen. 2 Centaurs with throwing axes. 3 Centaurs with throwing axes. 4 Ungor Raiders. 2 Ungor Spearman herds. 2 Harpies. We have a Jabber Scythe, 2 Gorgons, and a Bray Shaman of Wild with Traderkins. Okay. So his Traderkin is to kill Gotrek, Felix, and Thoric. And then the rest of this is to just run around and kill stuff, I suppose. Why is he bringing Gorgons? I don't know. If Strat Game's still in the chat, he could tell you. That seems very strange to me, but I guess maybe just their regen? Maybe? Okay. Harpies already diving in on the Miners with blasting charges, just trying to stop them from throwing, I guess? But these are Ungor Raiders, not going to run into melee, so the Harpies are actually trying to back out now. Don't want anything to do with these Dragonback Slayers. We're getting kited a little bit by throwing axes. Nice, nice. And the Gorgons walk in, Miners with blasting charges, throw at them. It's going to do 0 damage. They don't give a shit. And he plows straight into the Miners. Wah! You know the game is messed up and bringing anti-large Gorgon to Dwarves is the way. Yeah. It'll get even better on the next patch, because Gorgons themselves aren't that great at it, actually, but any large model is better at clearing out infantry due to the knockdown changes and stuff. Jabber does a really good charge attack on the Quarrelers, is going to get them down low enough that he starts Mortis Engineering them. And this is good. Man, those Quarrelers are getting fucked up. So are the Dragonback Slayers, honestly. Harpy's trying to keep them in line. Meanwhile, Ungor Raiders are getting chased around by Dwarves, but Dwarves are the slowest faction in the entire game, so those Ungor Raiders will be just fine. Though it does stop them from shooting, so it's not a bad play to chase them, it's just not going to do very much. I love that the Trader King caster is just chilling where he spawned. He doesn't give a shit. He's just staying out of the fight. Jabberscythe's still in it. Looks like Ulthar's Raiders are trying to throw at him at point-blank range, but he at last notices their existence and kind of waddles over them. Quarrelers getting chased off. Dragonback Slayers did beat the Harpies and push them back. Balance power is about equal for now. Gorgon has big heals too? Yeah, it does. Centaur's charging in. Just trying to route some stuff, it looks like, but they want to back off soon and chase things. They don't want to get stuck in a blob fight for too long. Great Bray Shaman of Wilds is coming up now. He probably wants to overcast Traderkin on Thoric from as far away as possible and then walk away again. We will see. Miners are chasing all the archers away, so that is good for the Dwarves. We'll see if their infantry can hold up in this fight, though. It's not looking like it. We do have Ulthar's Raiders still trying to throw, but they're currently in a bit of a blob and blocking each other a lot. So they're going to work that out. 2 Gorgons walking away from the fight. Looks like they're just trying to get clear and get a fresh charge onto something, while the Jabber still continues to mortis everything down. And there is the Trader King cast. He does get the overcast from Thoric, and then he gets a natural overcast, so double damage on him. And Thoric doesn't seem to mind the Traderkin too much, but it's better to cast it than not, I suppose. Beastmen are picking off any dwarves that leave the lines. The Centaurs with throwing axes are stuck fighting Dragonback Slayers, though. They'll want to get the fuck out of there soon. It does not look like they really realize how bad of a situation they're in, and they will die. Meanwhile, Ulthar's Raiders attempting to carry this game, standing outside the blob and aiming in at the Gorgons. But either I can't see their projectiles, or they're just not throwing a lot. It does not seem like they're really getting their DPS out, which is strange. They kind of had the perfect situation. Don't know what more they could be hoping for. So the Dwarves' failure to throw in those situations is really hurting them. The Gorgons are still both full HP. Jabber's at half. The Dwarves are running out of guys. Like, you can throw as many Dwarf Warriors as you want at these 3 guys, but you're not going to kill them in melee that way. You need either Slayers or ranged units, which the Slayers are busy. There's not enough for them to kill 3 big SEs. And these Ulthar Raiders have just kind of been shooting the bed. And it's like, the Dwarves have been putting them in a good position. I just haven't been noticing them really throwing, and when they throw, they miss. Meanwhile, a lot of dwarves are still outside the box, just chasing around archers, keeping them distracted. Another Traderkin, another overcast, another double overcast damage. Very unlucky there for Dr. Strat game. And the Jabber is finally getting caught. It is taking a lot of damage, and without it, the Gorgons might struggle to kill the whole company of dwarves. The Jabber's charge animations were just way better. Its Mortis engine was really good for that, so we'll see. But the Gorgon is here for Thoric. And he will slap that boy. Slap him good and dead. Althar's Raiders fighting off some Centaurs. Looks like the Dragonback Slayers pieced out of this fight for now. They are interspersed in the blob of dwarves. They'll chop down some Gorgons, okay. The bounce power is shifting against the Dowie. Jabber is back. Ooh. The Bray Shaman might be caught out here. His speed is debuffed by the Dragonback Slayers. He's diving deeper into the throng. And if he dies, the Beastman leadership would crater pretty terribly. And Gorgons have nefariously terrible leadership considering what kind of unit they are. I don't know. The ROR Gorgon can withstand a lot of stuff, but Gorgons themselves, it's not like they're unbreakable. If their lord dies, they could actually get, like, surrounded and routed off. Big charge coming from the Jabber. Let's see it. Give me that juice. Bap! A lot of dwarves get knocked around. Already the Mortis engine effect started on a couple of them. But now the Jabber says, wait, where'd the party go? And both the Gorgons are like, whoops. Bro, we're coming. Don't give up. We're coming back. We promise. And the Jabber's like, nah, man. You abandoned me. I hate you so much. And he leaves. Oof. Rip in peace. Rip in peace. Althar's Raiders are pushed off by the Centaurs, so are some Miners. Traderkin Casters back in the fight. Gorgons are cycle charging a bit. Meanwhile, there's a lot of dwarves in the hinterlands. And they did eventually catch some Ungor Raiders, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. We'll see. One of the Gorgon's healing caps actually within sight. And again, the caster gets caught! Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Caster getting kind of caught a little bit. He's starting to get away. As Centaurs do throw themselves back into the dwarves. And this Gorgon is surrounded by lads with sticks. He's having a bad time. Rune of Doom is popped. Everybody gets a bunch of melee stats. Plus cause fear, which mostly just stops them from being feared by the Gorgons and such. It's not like the Gorgons are going to care if there's fear. I want to play this times 2 speed for just a second as the Gorgons keep diving in to try and snipe out Thoric and then diving out, because fuck that shit, apparently. Archers are here at last. Another Traderkin hits the whole blob, and now we might have a mass rout for the dwarves, which is a rare thing to say out loud, but we do see them starting to falter, starting to leave. Thoric gets very low. Balance power shifts significantly against them, and now only Slayers stay, and only Slayers play, as Thoric is brought low. GG. GG. Ugh. 1,300 on the Traderkin caster, 1,200 and 1,100 on the Gorgons. Jabber Scythe at 1,400. Nice. Centaurs with throwing axes did fantastically. Harpies did okay. Ungor Raiders just got chased around the map, so they didn't get an opportunity to show their true quality. For the dwarves, Thoric did well. Slayers both did fantastically. Althar's Raiders also did very nice. The rest of the build, I imagine, will be suffering as far as the damage value goes. And not a lot on the rest of them. Well, Ekron's Miners did alright. Quarrelers got shut down. GG's. So that'll take Strat game to the quarterfinals. And we do have one game to cast from Kropep versus Lenorm. There were some issues. So the winner of this one game is the winner of the best of 3 between these two. Just due to some stuff. I don't even fully know the story. I just talked to Hanadins and he said cast the one game and whoever wins that wins the series. I'm like, alright. It is Hiles versus Lizards. I'm just getting the names up. Hiles versus Lizards. Lenorm. Okay, good enough. So this is a best of 1 due to complications. Go down. There you go. The gardens were strange but worked out well. One was still full health. Yeah. Alrighty, Lizards versus High Elves. The Shredder of Lustria versus High Elves is strange, but okay. Shredder of Lustria, 4 skinks with jabs, 3 skinks without. Feral cold ones, feral cold ones, feral cold ones, feral cold ones. Then we have some skink skirmishers. We have a Bestowed on Purification Crystal, Mazda Mundi with Apotheosis, Net, Harmonic Convergence, and his crowd clearing spells. That is a very strange lizard build. On the other side for the High Elves, we have 5 Spearmen, 4 Lothern Seaguard, a Life Mage with Earthblood and Regrowth. We have a Metal Mage with just Plague of Rust. Imric up on his dragon. Then we have 2 Dragon Princes, one of which is the Fireborn. Imagine just having Thoric as your weightlifting coach. You can just train 24/7 while regenerating next to him. Yeah. Shredder's good versus High Elves. I imagine it's going to get Plague of Rust and Pincushion, but we will see. We will see. Mazda plows straight through the front line of Spearmen. He is going to throw down Ruination of Cities. Straight on Lothern Seaguard. Let's see if RNG favors him. It did all right. It was pretty good placement so that all of them were going to hit it at least some capacity, but one of them went down the line, so... one Lothern Seaguard is already pushed off. And a Plague of Rust onto Mazda. Interesting, as Imric lands. Okay. So Imric tried to get a little poke on Mazda. Didn't really work out for him, and now the Shredder is amongst the Fireborn, which he is very happy to just eat them all alive. He's living his best life right now. The High Elves are not doing as well as I would have thought. The front line is crumpling a little bit. Now the Spearmen are holding all right, but crumpling I just mean like gaps are appearing and Lizardmen are getting into the backfield already, right? So, you know, health-wise they're fine, but the function of a front line is to keep your back line safe, and that is not happening right now. As Dragon Princes are trying to fight some skinks, keep the Lothern Seaguard shooting. Mazda is at half HP from Imric's attentions, but Imric's attentions might be needed elsewhere as the Shredder is still going absolutely apeshit on his backline, and there have been no Plague of Rust for him. Imric has his work cut out for him. We saw Imric earlier lose because against Dark Elves he had no one to fight. Now versus Lizardmen he's struggling because he has 2 giant things to fight. And he can't be both places at once, and he sure as hell doesn't want to fight them both at the same time. So the High Elves are trying to hold the Fireborn and the other Dragon Princes taking control of the mobility game. They're only contested by Feral Cold Ones, which should be pretty easy for them to destroy. They will kill these skinks rather quickly, terror-routing them off with help from Imric, but the 2 big boys are here. Mazda Munda throwing a banishment down, and the Shredder just stabbing straight into the Lothern Seaguard, really harassing them, and Feral Cold Ones just trying to keep the guys that they left behind distracted for a bit. The Fireborn and Imric getting involved now. Can they together stop the Shredder and Mazda? My heart says no, but the Shredder is leaving Mazda Mundi. He does need to turn around and help him out. Mazda's still trying to run. He nets down Imric while healing himself a bit, but the Shredder still has no interest in going back and helping his lord. You know, the basic Dragon Princes are still trying to kill skinks. It's taking them about 55 years, which is 45 years too long. Should only take 10. Should take 10 years to kill some skinks. That's it. Mazda does have healing support from the Rev Crystal and his own Apotheosis, so his low health at the moment is not a problem, but his healing cap is at the very edge of his health bar. It's within sight. Is all that green stuff considered water terrain? Yes. Yes, it is. Imric's landing on Feral Cold Ones to bail out his life caster, realizing she's taking way more damage than he would like. The Shredder is still running wild, but the balance power is shifting in the favor of the High Elves, I guess. I don't know. For me, it's looked extremely sus for the High Elves, but apparently the game believes in them for something. I don't think it's over. I just think the High Elves are doing all right. Okay, this lady Overcast Earthblood, I would suspect. No, it's Overcast with Regrowth on the Fireborn. It brought her that low. I wonder if the Shredder just comes over here and kills her. No, he's going for Imric, and Imric's netted. Ooh, this could be a really bad time. As Mazda Booty just headbutts her. Headbutts the Mage of Life. He has to get out of the way as the Shredder's coming through. The Shredder does get a big hit onto Imric, and the High Elves might be fucked. This is looking like a bad time to be alive. Your life caster is gone. There's no healing for Imric as the Shredder of Lustria bears down on him. Lord of Dragons, but Harmonic Convergence counters it, so his stats are almost exactly the same as they were. And Imric tries to piece out. He takes another nasty shot, and some Lothern Seaguard and Fireborn desperately fly in to try and save Imric. His leadership is getting real low. Because the Shredder of Lustria's -8 leadership goes through ITP, so it's not like the fact that he causes terror saves him from the wrath of the Shredder. Mazda Mundi's picking a fight that I don't think he can finish. Imric might turn around and snipe him. We will see, as the Shredder is far away. Lothern Seaguard still trying to assist in this battle. The front line for the Spearmen is still holding, but they're not winning it. They're just holding. I guess they're skinks, so who cares? But it's not like there's any help coming from that quarter. The Dragon Princes are really doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Plus, they got a ton of regrowths and stuff. Like, they've had support, don't get me wrong, but they're doing good work. Imrik's back in the sky. Mazdamundi is danger low, and the Shredder is really far away from him. Like, really far away. Imrik might dive down and end this man's whole career. A Revivification Crystal is trying to keep him busy. As Law and Seaguard continue to poke, Dragon Princes lead the Shredder further away, and without the Shredder nearby, Mazda is hopelessly outmatched by Imrik in melee combat. And we'll see if him and his Rev Crystal can do some good work, but the Feral Cold Ones aren't even coming over to help. They're busy with Law and Seaguard and stuff. This might be the end of dear Mazdamundi. Shredder's back. He's coming back. He's like, boss, I fucked up. I got distracted. I'm coming. And he is coming indeed. Imrik takes a chomp in the back, is going to get netted. Can he get back into combat before he flies away? Yes. So the Feral Cold are going to hold him on the ground. Shredder needs new attack orders to get onto him. It looks like he got distracted by Loud and Seaguard for a second. Now he has attack orders, so he's running back to deal with Imrik yet again. Balance power slightly in favor of the High Elves. We are 6.5 minutes in with no clear winner just yet. Mazdamundi is Plague of Rusted, but there's not really anybody to follow up on that. It looks like Dragon Princes were trying to, but they just aren't able to really knock him down. Other Dragon Princes joining the fight against the Shredder, but more Feral Cold Ones are diving back in. That Life Mage has been routing for 65 years, but since she's a foot character on the previous patch, there will be no help for her. And a risky cast from Mazdamundi. It's going to do equal damage to both sides. And yeah, the Fireborn avoided the worst of it. The Dragon Princes that were already routing did take some damage, so did the Feral Cold Ones. Overall good for the Lizardmen, but that got risky. That could have just gone straight into 2 Feral Cold Ones instead of any Dragon Princes at all. Breath attack from Imrik nicks the Shredder, hits the Feral Cold Ones a little bit. And I heard another Vuvuzela going off. But it must have gotten canceled or something. Coordination of no regrowth, save from the leadership drop. Yeah. Rev Crystal is healing up the Shredder. Bounce power starts to shift in the favor of the Lizards. And I'm thinking we might have to agree. Fireborn's still running around doing good work. Spearman trying to hold on. But Mazdamundi's like heal capped. Metalcaster is getting pushed away. And maybe the Life Mage can get rallied here. By Imrik. Because if she can come back, she can throw an Earthblood on herself or something and be fine. Then she can heal him up. But I don't know if even Imrik can carry this against the Shredder. Not all alone. Shredder is going to go fight some Spearmen while the Metal Mage gets bodied by Mazdamundi. Imrik is doing his god-darn best to save her. 6 leadership. You call yourself a High Elf? You call yourself a High Elf? You can't even rally at 300 HP? I've seen Beastmen rally more than you. That's true. That is a fact. Get your shit together. Jesus Christ. Imrik is standing there. He's holding out his hand for you. He said only you could prevent wildfires, and you did nothing! Oh, no. Oh, no. She left. Poor Imrik. So for the High Elves, I think I'm going to fast forward a little bit as there's a lot of chasing going on. But the High Elves trying to figure their shit out in the distance. Imrik's running around. Dragon Prince is chilling. And meanwhile, Lizardmen continue to heal. The Rev Crystal, is it out of uses? It has 2 uses left, which is actually scary. Shredder's back at full HP from all the healing it got from the Rev Crystal and Mazdamundi. Spears brace. Spears immediately tear out. Imrik's coming back. Dragon Princes, other Dragon Princes, ready to go. And what does he end up doing? It looks like the Shredder's taking the bait to go for some Spearmen, and the Fireborn plus Imrik are just going to dive and try and kill this little enclave of Lizardmen. The Shredder is immediately pathing over, realizing what could be happening, but Lord of Dragons is down onto Mazdamundi, and it's now or never. Imrik is just fucking going for it. He's got to snipe out Mazda right now, and it looks like he is trying to. Leadership's down to 12 for the big toad man. He's getting lower. All of his support's running away. Dragon Prince is surrounding him, but Imrik's got to go. The Shredder is here, and Mazda's healing up with a Rev Crystal yet again. Fireborn are not routing, they're just running away. Like normal leadership running away. Imrik's trying to get back in the sky. His heal cap is within sight, but it doesn't really matter because there's no healing for him, so the health he's got is what he's got. Fireborn commit for a second. Dragon Princess commit for a second. It looks like Imrik thought about fighting the Shredder and then decided against it. But with a full health bestowed on, don't know what that's about. Fireborn fight Mazda, and it's over. The Lizardmen do take the W. So Kropep won, And I'm actually a little confused. Because I know Lenorm moved on. And I only had one game to win to cast for Kropep won. So I don't fully know the story on that, but I know Lenorm advanced. So well played to Kropep. Nice job winning that game, but confused about the result. Anyway. Mazda, almost 2,000 value. Shredder, almost 4,000. Some very good stuff there. Feral Cold Ones did great. Skinkoats Javelins did well. Skirmishers did nicely. Good job. Emmerich did okay. He did all right. Fireborn and Dragon Princes really tried to carry the game along with him. Law and the Seaguard did well. There's way too much backline harass on them. They couldn't do anything. Cool. So Lenorm advanced. I don't fully know the story on that one. All right. I have one more quarterfinal I need to download because Caradoc versus Marco Magno was getting played while we were, well, before the stream, I think. So hang on. Final stage, round of 8. Do we have Caradoc yet? Which quarter do I not have? 3? Okay, cool. So let me get Caradoc's replays here. Caradoc and Marcos, I guess. I legitimately don't know who won the quarters. I knew who won the round of 16 in some cases just due to scheduling, right? Because I could see people trying to coordinate games. I'm like, well, if you're trying to coordinate a game, then I know you won. But I actually don't know who won the quarters, so I am also going to be surprised by the results from here on out. Okay. Yeah, I have all the quarters. I have 45 minutes to do this, so let's go fast. Let's go fast. Quarter 1-1. So that was Butcherbird, who advanced versus John FB. He was the playoffs promotion, and John FB could not make it to the tournament, so he got a pass. So we haven't seen Butcherbird yet today, but Alfredino beat Asriel. Butcherbird is here versus him. So let's see. Get the blocker down. Beastmen versus Dark Elves. The return of the Dark Elves, but at least we get some Beastmen on the way. Butcherbird versus Alfredino, and the game is already fucking going on, so we gotta hurry up. ODM Alfredino. Good. 0-0. Dark Elves are back. We got a nice little breather from them, so I think it's about time. We got the back. Ask Hanadans what happened with Kropep. I don't know. People can figure it out if they want to, but I'm not going to figure it out on live stream when I have to go. I have to go back to work soon, so we're trying to get through this. Not trying to rush, but I'm on a schedule here. Are you Sonic? No. There was some roll break drama? Okay. Yeah. Anyway. For the Beastmen, Ungor Spearman herds, Razorgore herds, a whole bunch of Centigores. 3 Centigores with throwing axes. More Razorgores, more Centigores. Malagor, the Dark Omen in the sky with 2 Manticores. And Malagor for spells brought the Cygor summon, Enfeebling Foe, and Flock of Doom. I think the Cygor summon sucks. I know a lot of I don't know a lot of Beastman players, but the ones I do think it's fine. On the Dark Elf side, we have Cold One Knights, Dread Spears, Dark Riders, Dread Spears, Cold One Knights, Malekith, 2 Scourge Runner Chariots, 2 Dark Black Arc Corsair Handbows. Yeah, pretty straightforward build. Alright, and we're already off, as 2 Razorgore herds have been routed at different points. Dark Elves took some damage on the return, and Centigores are really charging up to just try and harass the Elves and force them to fight and force them not to cycle charge. Gaze of Malice is going to take out an Ungor Spearman herd down to about half HP. And all the throwing axes are moving together. They might want to spread out some more. I don't know. I don't know if they actually interfere with their own throwing like foot units do. But I've noticed that skirmish cav that ends up in a blob tends to not do nearly as much damage. Dark Riders do catch the Centigores, and Scourge Runner Chariots are shooting them, so the Centigores with throwing axes taking a lot of damage, and Malekith just throwing down breath attacks is really harassing these Ungor Spearman herds. He does not like them for some reason. He wants them to die. Meanwhile, Centigores are chasing Dark Riders around. Dark Riders are chasing them back. So a lot of cav engagements. It's very hard to cast this stuff this fast, but okay, I guess that's fine, players. I guess just have a lot of stuff going on, players. I guess don't just engage one unit at a time. Make it easy for me to talk about, players. You bastards. Alright. Scourge Runners walking away. The Black Arc Corsair Handbows also pressuring these Centigores with throwing axes. And the Dark Elf front line is holding all right. The Beastmen mobility seems to be winning a bit, but Malekith being a big spooky dragon and flying around is definitely making it much harder for the Beastmen to do what they want. Quick little Flog of Doom hitting some Dread Spears, doing a little bit of poke damage, and meanwhile Cold One Knights And Dread Spears with Murderous Prowess popped are going to beat some Centaurs. Maybe push them off the map. Razorgore Horde's getting Terror Routed. The Beastmen's first round seems to be over. The Beastmen tend to come in waves because, like, their first wave will break and then they need to regroup their shit, come back in a second wave. And unlike the Sand People, they are not stronger than ever before. These guys did take a little bit of a melee fight with the Golden Knights, deciding it's not in their favor. They are trying to get out now while Black Ark Corsair Handbows and Scourge Runners continue to fire at them. Malekith is still running around unhindered. Now going to try to kill himself a Manticore. He does have better melee stats than a Manticore, so that's good for him at least. Yeah, he's going to body that fool. Meanwhile, the other Manticore in Malagor is going to clear up this little pocket of resistance. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. We will see. I'm worried the Beastmen are running out of sauce. Coldwood Knights and Dread Spears taking a combined fight against Centaurs and Razorgore Hordes. That should be good for the Dark Elves because Spear Infantry tend to do very well versus Cavalry, even when they're wounded. We will see both sides running on fumes over there. These Black Ark Corsair Handbows are actually going to be quite clutch in the late game. Still have a good amount of ammunition for them. For the Beastmen, Centaurs have a lot of ammo, just not a lot of models, but a lot of ammo. One Manticore is happy and healthy. Malagor is happy and healthy. There's another Manticore that would be useful if it wasn't rampaging straight into its death. Goodbye, my friend. Alright. So he's dead. Scourge Runners, 1 volley, 2 volleys left. And yes, the Spears plus the Cold Knights did win that back alley fight. Back alley brawl. A little bit of fast forwarding as both sides are seeming to set up battle lines. Beastmen trying to re-coagulate over there. And Dark Elves chasing the Beastmen towards the edge of the maps, trying to stop them from getting any of their shit together. They are going to just take this opportunity and kill these 3 really low Ungor Spearman herd that are separated. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Flock of Doom is popped onto these guys. I haven't seen a Cygor summon yet. Does he still have 2 out of 2 uses? Yes, he does. We'll see if he decides to use them. Not sure. More Centaurs charging in, trying to route those Dread Spears, but it's not really going to work, and he's going to back off. Scourge Runners are out of ammo. Black Ark Corsairs still have a good amount. Malekith is still very healthy. I haven't seen a ton of Soul Stealers from him either. So he might have, like, a full heal cap left to go. You might have to fight 2 Malekiths here, which seems rough for the Beastmen. Beastmen throwing in the last of their forces. And Malagor plus the Manticore going in on him. Enfeebling Foe lowering his melee stats to 34-24, which is pitiful. Nice job, Malagor. Dueling with him. And we get the Cygor summon of legend. It appears behind the Black Ark Corsair Handbows. But the Beastmen don't have a lot of support out there. The air fight is going quite well for them with that little debuff play. And now you have a Cygor summon. But other than that, man, all of your wounded troops are running away. Still have some throwing axes trying to support, but I feel like the Black Ark Corsair Handbows can handle them. They'll out-skirmish. And Cygor is trying to distract him, just running in as a budget giant. More Beastmen troops are routing. Dark Elves holding strong. And Malekith's going to throw out one of his first Soul Stealers. That's going to heal him up a lot, maybe even finish off the Manticore. But Malagor doesn't give up. Malagor ain't scared of shit. He's still fighting this Dragon Lord up in the sky, but Malekith's plenty happy to take it, and he now starts taking big chunks off of Malagor himself. Another Enfeebling Foe going to lower him again. Malagor really trying to take this air fight. But outside of that, the Beastmen are about doomed. That Cygor summon is going to fade away, and with it, the balance of power will probably shift so far it might even tip into army losses, possibly. Because the summon Cygor at full HP is definitely holding that balance of power bar up. Oh, it has 30 more seconds left. Okay. Not over yet. Gaze of Malice nicely timed to hit the Grog Hooves of Wolf's Run, getting them good and low. Manticore is beaten back by Malekith, leaving Malagor all alone. His Cygor friend is still wandering beneath him. And when the Cygor fades, this game's over. I'm calling it. 7 seconds left to see if Human Boy is the smartest man to ever live. 2, 1, gone. Does the game end? Holy shit, he's the smartest man to ever live! Oh my god! Hummus Boy, caster of over like 5,000 fucking replays, usually knows when a game is going to end. What an absolute champion. God, I'm so smart and pretty. Alright. Beastmen, valiant attempt, honestly. Malagor did great. Ungor Spearman Herds did not, but that's kind of the Beastman MO. Razorgore Herds also got bodied pretty bad. Centaurs did fine. Throwing Axes did mixed, and Manticores did okay. On the other side, for Alfredino, Malekith 2000 value. Cold One Knights did okay. Scourge Runner Chariots did fine. Blacker Corsair Handbows there was the real value winners. And then Dread Spears did nicely. So it was the Dark Elf Infantry that did it that day. All right, birds down 1-0. We get another new faction for the day. Norska. You're also humble. I think it's fair to say that I am literally the best player of all time that's ever lived. I don't think that's controversial. Okay. We have the blocker down? Yes, we're good. Norska versus the Vampire Coast. For Alfredino, we do have quadruple deck dropper. This is the pistol variant. We have Noctilus on his peg leg with Invocation of Heck and his summon. We have a bunch of pistol mobs, a bunch of sword mobs. We do have Lamprey's Revenge, ROR, Krabos. We have triple Animated Hulk. Besides that, a Gunnery White for Scab Strafe and more ammunition, and then some bomber mobs. Okay. On the other side for Norska, a front line of Marauders, a secondary line of Berserkers, 2 Hunter Javelin Throwers, 3 Ice Wolves, Beast of Tashnar, Warhound ROR, Sorcerer of Fire with Burning Head, and the Flaming Sword of Ruin, and then the Wolfric with Sea Fang and Hunter of Champions. Oh yeah, also the Soul Crusher. Did I forget to mention that? Did I forget to mention the Soul Crushers here? Looking for some Noctilus booty, and Noctilus is like, no, please. Not my booty. Oh, Soul Crusher's gonna back off. Little biscuit. Surround is coming in for the coast. Quick fast forward, just because, again, I have to go back to work soon, so boop. Just gonna fast forward through some of the repositioning parts. As the Gunbats have been poking at Marauder Berserkers, they are unshielded and have low armor, so the pistols will do nicely there. And Noctilus is instead trying to hit some Norscan Ice Wolves, who... I don't know who originally started it, but I heard it first from Strat Game that these guys are actually kind of busted. And ever since then, whenever I do play Norscan Ice Wolves do very, very nicely. So good job, Strat Game, and whoever discovered that they're actually very good. But again, I learned it through Strat Game, so I'll give him his props there. The Marauders just looking for a fight. They know they can body the Vampire Coast in melee, so they want to get into melee as fast as possible, but the Bombers are making that a little difficult as the Summon tries to hold them in place and Bombers discourage them from ever getting aggressive. Again, dogs are pulling in on the far side. More dogs are coming in from the high ground, and the coast is getting surrounded. Now, what's nice for them is they're getting close to the white line, and they're undead, so they don't have to worry about routing off, but if they do route any Norscan things, they will probably scamper off the white line from there. We either have a Burning Head or a Sea Fang coming through. It is a Burning Head. Pre-update. There's the Sea Fang. I heard it. Where is it? There it is. Sea Fang hits some bombers, hits some pistols. Nice damage overall. And Animated Hulks are so far holding back the dangers of the Ice Wolf mob. Meanwhile, the Soul Crusher is stuck up in a fight. It helped kill some stuff, but now the Lamprey's Revenge is here and it might want to fuck off. Also, unfortunately, some Javelin throwers are getting caught in melee with the Lamprey's Revenge. They do have to back off as Bombers continue to throw into Berserkers, doing really good damage on them, and the pistol bats are free and clear to keep firing. There's really not a lot of harassment for them, since Norska didn't bring any air units, and their Javelins are otherwise occupied. Now the Javelins are trying to get some distance they can start throwing in. Sorry, sounded like somebody was in my house for a second, and I had to worry about that, but we're good. Norscan Ice Wolves continue to fight Animated Hulks, fighting Bombers, getting shot by pistols and stuff, but these Gunbats are safe and healthy. The Gunnery White, I was going to say, is able to send them all ammunition whenever he desires, but Wolfric is actually trying to hunt him down, along with his Shaman Sorcerer of Metal. This could get risky if the Gunnery White dies. Maybe. But the coast is up on the damage value. Soul Crusher is currently getting poked as he fights Animated Hulks. The Animated Hulks are out just chasing this Javelin with the full ammunition. Really doesn't want that one to come back. The other Javelin's trying to peel for his friend. I don't know if he'll be able to actually kill the Animated Hulks. We'll see. Dogs continuing to fight, but Bombers will make short work of that with their last ammunition unless the Gunnery White says so. And we have another Burning Head. It looks like it's going straight down the line. Is this a summon? This is not a summon, but it actually gets canceled, and Wolfric's going to route. Without him, the Shaman Sorcerer might just rout following it. And that could be the doom of Norse, because the Soul Crusher takes a 1v1 with Noctilus, which it will win, but I don't know if it'll win the 1v1 before he just walks away, or Army Losses is going to hit for Norska. So the Soul Crusher is trying its damnedest, but Wulfric failed it yet again. And this is why I'm a Throg stan. Throg is best Norska Lord. As the jabs throw at the animated hulks, meanwhile bombs are going to throw at the jabs. If they ever figure it the fuck out, you guys good? You good? What's happening here? What are you doing? You good? You see that big red arrow into them? That means do something. What's wrong with you? Noctilus is even coming over like, the fuck, guys? Throw. Okay, that was weird. That was a weird thing to experience. Noctilus routes off the Marauders, and his summon routes off the Javelins. That was cool. He just came in and dealt with both things at once, and he's like, you fucks! Do I have to do everything, or are you gonna do something today? And the Bomber's like, I don't know. You figure it out. But everything is routing. Norska is about to army loss any second here, and Noctilus didn't even need his Bombers. Oh shit. I have texts. What is this? Sorry, I have to see if either of these texts are about work. Jun is gonna be here. Yeah, it is about work, so 1 second. All right, we're trucking along. Sorry. Work stuff, work stuff. Wulfric, 500 value. Burning Headcaster, 300, so struggled there. Marauders did okay. Marauder Berserkers got completely clapped. Oof. Javelins did well. Soul Crusher honestly did fine. 1500 value is not that bad. And Ice Wolves did their best, but chewing through zombies is not their best thing, because the zombies don't rout. And dogs are really good at doing high burst damage and getting you to rout. But if you don't rout, then they just sit there forever. Lamprey's Revenge did great. Gunnery Mob did fine. I'm sorry, Gunnery White did fine. Noctilus did okay. Animated Hulks, good stuff. Bombers did well. Pistol Bats, good value as well. And the Zombos stood around. So that is Alfredino going 2-0. He will be the first of the top 4. Which again, if you have not heard me saying that throughout the stream, this Sunday I'll be co-casting that with Tactical Itch. It'll be fun. That'll be live. So this is replays, that'll be live. And it will be on the new patch. So that'll be fun. Fun. Quarterfinal 2. ODM's The Green One versus DBD's Lenorm. It's self-requested Cockatoo, but I'm just going to go with Lenorm because that's how I know him on Discord, and yeah. We didn't get to see a lot of Lenorm. His opponent did have to drop out. So we saw him play High Elves and lose to Lizardmen. Will he get his vengeance? Or will he get bodied? Let's find out. Aren't you making millions from gaming with Warhammer? No. No. All right. Lenorm on the Vampire Counts versus Green One's Empire. Cool. Hey, I played this matchup recently on stream on this exact map versus VM's Berserk, and he beat my ass. I was the Empire. Nice. Anyway, we have the Dire Pack, Blood Knights, and Dire Wolves, so matching on those sides. We have the Sternsman, Graveguard, plus some Skeleton Spearmen, Zombie Frontline, Necromancer with his Forbidden Rod, and a Lesser Raised Dead, plus the Unholy Lodestone for some healing. We have a Blood Dragon Vampire Lord. Been seeing a lot of Manfred today, which is weird because he's not that meta normally. Normally you see this Blood Dragon guy over and over again. So he is back. We do have the Devils of Schwarzhofen, 1 Vargeist. The other side for the Empire, triple War Wagon, Marcus Wolfhart with a net. 2 Great Swords in the front line along with Sigmar's Sons, Sterling's Revenge, Free Company Militia ROR, a bunch of Halberdiers, and 2 Empire Knights with a Bright Wizard, Flaming Sword of Ruin, and Burning Head. Bit of skirmish, and again, I have to get going to work here quite soon, so we are going to just hit the fast forward until the front lines actually engage. War Wagon's getting their free value out. War Wagon's getting their free value out. Empire Knights also charging out to get good value. And now they might have overextended as the Dire Wolves come in. And the Blood Knights are going to come in too. And War Wagons are only tanky if they're moving. And they seem to be locked in each other, which is not going well for them. Now they're starting to move, so they should be okay. On the other side, a beautiful breath attack from the Blood Dragon Lord onto some great swords. The Empire Knights charging out are also still dealing with zombies, but that is a lot of damage coming in on the Blood Dragon Lord as he just flies straight into Sterling's Revenge. He's also going to get shot in the face as Marcus Wolfhart nets him. Sterling's Revenge still teeing off on the poor Blood Dragon, who has taken over half his HP at this point. War Wagons are joining in on the fun, too. Oh, no, and that breath attack on the Great Swords would have been really nice here for the Sterling's Revenge, but he's still getting shot. They even have the Flaming Sword of Ruin to give them magic damage and fire. So, oof, that is a lot of damage value onto the Blood Dragon Lord. But elsewhere, the Vampire Counts are advancing through the front line. Their Dire Pack and Blood Knights are still after these War Wagons, refusing to let them go as Great Swords try and peel off the Undead Menace. More Blood Knights. Devils of Schwarzhofen piling in onto these Great Swords, getting rid of them so that the Zombies and Skeleton Spearmen can continue to handle the back line without everything being on the Devils, you know, to like do everything themselves. They do need Zombies and Skeletons to run in and do some stuff. Blood Dragon Lord is chilling off to the side. Looks like he's waiting for like an invocation to heck or something to heal himself up. Doesn't want to get too involved too quickly now. Burning Head does hit the Sternsman, though it doesn't have high armor piercing values, and I don't think it was even overcast, so the Sternsmen are going to be just fine with that. Empire has made another little enclave for shooting as they got their War Wagons outside of their own box, but then they gave it some Halberdiers and Empires to capitalize on it. They made like a little thingy. They made a nub for the War Wagons, who are continuing to harass the Blood Dragon Lord. The Dire Pack's fading away. Blood Knights and Devils of Schwarzhofen all trying to kill the Sigmar's Sons, who just aren't going anywhere, as the free-firing War Wagons just punish them so much. Blood Dragon Lord's healing cap is being within sight. He's diving now onto Marcus. He misses the first attack, and there's another net for you, my friend. Oh, no. Sword of Anti-Heroes has popped on him. Helm of Discord on everybody else. He is getting shot, though, by the War Wagons. Your melee stats don't matter too much when you're getting shot in the face, my dude. 20% damage to this for him. He is trying his best, but he dives away from the War Wagons, which might be the death of him. There is a net. The War Wagons are free and clear to fire on him, and they should. Free Company Militia shooting as well. Blood Dragon Lord is going to die here, or my name isn't Hocus Pocus Smocus Focus. He even throws down an invocation to heck, but that 20% damage resist and the invocation is not going to save you, my friend. You are dead, and therefore my name is officially Hocus Pocus something something. I forgot the rest of it already. I just made it up on the fly. I didn't prepare anything for this. Without that, the Vampire Counts are pretty much fucked. That is the end of them. Nice job, Empire, beating the dreaded Vampire Counts before their nerfs, showing that they didn't deserve the nerfs after all, and everybody else is just stupid. War Wagons did nicely. Great Swords did well. Free Company Militia got 1,500 value from shooting the netted guy twice in a row. Halberdiers and Empire Knights did fine. Other side, Blood Dragon Lord got sniped out super hardcore. Didn't have a lot he could do. Blood Knights and Dogs did their best to disrupt things, but they didn't have a good fight they could get into. Vargas also got shut down. Just the Vampire Counts in general got shafted there. Rip in peace, my vampire friends. Rip in peace. All right, so that was 2-1. We are on 2-2. Okay. I'll give green one his point. We have Tomb Kings versus Dark Elves for game 2. Can the Tomb Kings beat the Dark Elves and just make it a 2-0 real fast? Or the Dark Elves going to do Dark Elf things? We're going to game 3. Well, let's find out. For the Tomb Kings, we have 3 Carrion, 3 Melee Ushapti, 2 Ushapti Great Bows, neither of which is the ROR. We have the Eyes of the Desert Sepulchral Stalker ROR. We have 3 Skeleton Spearmen, 4 Nehekar Warriors, Ark in the Black of Spirit Leech, and Fate of Buna. Why do you take BDL in this matchup? I thought Blood Knights? You're talking the Blood Dragon Lord. Oh, yeah, Berserk used Kemlar versus me in that one very well. I think the Blood Dragon Lord is a mistake versus Empire because there's not a lot of stuff he needs to duel. Like, he's an incredible duelist, but the Empire's just not going to duel you. They're going to shoot at you. For the Dark Elves, we have 2 Blackguard, I think I saw. Maybe even 3. 3 Blackguard. Blackguard Corsairs, 2 Sisters of Slaughter. And then Dark Riders, Malekith up on his dragon, Dark Riders. So yeah, it is an extremely elite infantry rush for the Dark Elves versus the Tomb Kings. Lenorm betting it all. on Blackguard and Sisters Rush. Okay. Sparkle Stalkers poking Malekith a little bit, while Ushapti Great Bows are focusing down Sisters. They are not the Chosen of the Gods, so their arrows don't spread just before impact, meaning they do significantly less damage to Sisters, who now get a Skeleton summoned in the face and get delayed a little bit. Black Ark Corsairs are colliding with Nekar Warriors. They will win that. Sisters of Slaughter also going to fight Nekar Warriors. They'll probably win that, though, with the support of melee Ushapti. Maybe not. They might need some Blackguard of Nagaron to come over and help them out. The mega elite halberds of the Druchii diving into the back line. The front lines have collided. Dark Rider still offering some support, some more Blackguard, and some Black Ark Corsairs trying to join in. More flanking units from the Dark Elves. Let's see if they can hold on. I think Blood Penguin had a similar build. He had Harganeth Executioners, but I forget if it was versus Tomb Kings or versus Khorne. Sometimes just elite infantry can do it. We get our first Fate of unit is onto a Blackguard from Ark in the Black. That's going to be some pretty insane, juicy value for him. And of course, the Dark Elves have no healing for their other units, just Soul Stealer for Malekith himself. But that means these Blackguard are doomed. Doomed. Doomed! Yeah, Arkan got 600 value off that. Damn. Damn! Carrying or chasing around Malekith. Malekith's trying to find a home that doesn't involve him getting shot by a whole bunch of Ushapti Greatbow. And a nice Gaze of Malice should clear out these Skeleton Spearmen. And a rear charge onto Ark in the Black, though he fails to land multiple times. Thank God that bug is fixed in the next patch. And it is fixed. I haven't been able to recreate it. I'm going on the record as saying it's not there at all, and even if you play a million games, you'll never see it. I dare you to find me that fucking clip. I dare you. It's going to be difficult, to say the least. Hi, Hazel. So Malekith tried to get a snipe onto Arkan, but flying units being janky prevented him from doing so, and he was getting shot in the butt by Great Bows, so he did not enjoy that whatsoever. Dark Elf frontline is pushing slowly through the Tomb Kings. We do even get the Ushapti summon out just to delay them a little bit. Things are looking rough for the Dark Elves on the balance of power at the moment, but we still have a full health Blackguard trying to get in here. They've really not been able to shut down the Ushapti Great Bows. Yeah. Malekith's back onto Arkan. He's really doubling down on sniping out Arkan instead of going for any disruption, but I guess if it works for him. He got 2 good shots in a row. Now he's stalling out a little bit. Carrion seemed to be distracting him. And he does pull back into the sky. Ushapti summon still going strong. The basic Ushapti are also doing fine on the front line, but the Sisters of Slaughter and the Black Ark Corsairs are slowly getting through. They are starting to whittle down those forces. And the Chosen, the Ushapti Great Bows, I'm not used to not having Chosen the Gods. Basic Ushapti Great Bows are running out of places to hide. Malekith is going to chuck down a Soul Stealer. It'll hit the Sparkle Stalkers and Arkan. Good damage, but also he really, really needs the healing right now. That is what he'll focus on. Dark Riders caught up on some Carrion. Looks like they're being charged by Skeleton Spearmen. I was trying to figure out if they were a summon or not. They looked kind of glowy, but they are not a summon. Ushapti summon. Speaking of summons, 19 seconds left on that bad boy. Sisters of Slaughter and Blackguard still fighting to the very bitter end in this degenerate blob. And those Ushapti are crumbling. The Nekar Warriors are gone, and the summon Ushapti actually took almost its full HP bar before being desummoned. So those guys might actually win it out. For now, Malekith uses a rather optimistic Gaze of Malice on some Skeleton Spearmen. It misses entirely. Dark Riders are alive. They could harass the Ushapti Great Bows, who are still making Malekith's life miserable. Meanwhile, some Blackguard are murdering the last of those Ushapti, and the Dark Elves all of a sudden ahead on the balance of power as the summons are starting to fade, and the Tomb Kings are just running out of gas entirely. A little bit of Benny healing for just a second here as these Dark Riders catch up to Sparkle Stalkers. Bam. They catch up. They're just trying to say either you keep running and we get free damage on you, or you stop and fight us and the Blackguard catch up, and it's a win-win for us. Meanwhile, more Dark Elves infantry are walking in. Arkan and the last melee Ushapti are trying to hold the line. There is a Ushapti Great Bow off in the distance that could offer some supporting fire. And if this guy has any Fate of Unas left, that is a rather juicy-looking Blackguard to use it onto, but I'm scared that Malekith has Soul Stealers left. And if he heals up on his dragon, then this is pretty over. The Sparkle Stalkers get taken down. Ushaptis are on the run. We have a Breath Attack from Malekith onto that Skeleton Spearman. He really hates that last Skeleton Spearman. He's not a fan. Arkan's running away, just trying to stay as far away from Malekith as possible. As Malekith comes in, a little bit of Benny healing. There we go. Soul Stealer, and the dog made a weird noise. Ushapti's trying to get away from all this infantry. They do turn to fire at Malekith, who is just chasing around Arkin with the Soul Stealer, but the Dark Riders are easily able to clean off those Purple Stalkers. Last of Ushabti is fading. Last of Skeleton Spearmen are fading. And the Tomb Kings do not have the sauce left in them. It's over. 1-1. 1-1. Cool. Arkin did fine. Sword Stalkers did well. Ushabti Greatbows did well. Melee Ushabti did mixed. Netkara Warriors did fine. Carrion really struggled to find a place. And Skeleton Spearman got murdered. On the other side, Malekith, okay value, but actually not as much as you would have thought. Sister Slaughter did well overall. Blackguard did well, considering one of them got Fate of Bunid. And Dark Riders did fine. It's a good one. Alright. Boop. So game 3 between Lenorm and the green one. Okay, I gotta text my boss guy. Okay. Fanatical, I don't give a shit. Cool, cool. Game 3. More Dark Elves. Oh, boy. Must be Lenorm this time. No, it must be green one this time. Because Lenorm was just the Dark Elves. Cool. We have Shades with dual weapons. Ugh, Shades. Shades! 4 Shades, some with dual weapons, some without. Dark Shards, so 5 Dark Shards, 4 Shades, 4 Dread Spears, 3 Dark Riders with shields, and a Supreme Sorceress of Fire with Burning Head and Flaming Sword of Ruin. On the other side for Lenorm, it is the Vampire Coast. We have 2 Depth Guard, some Bomber mobs mixed in with Handgun mobs, 3 Dogs, 2 Animated Hulks, a Deathcaster with Fate of Buna and Spirit Leech, and then 2 Mortars. Okay. Whip. Mortars are continuing to fire. Dark Riders running in, and a huge Burning Head, definitely overcast. Does a ton of damage to these pole arms, and then a Dark Rider charge from the green one is going to try and just get those Mortars' leadership low enough. There it goes. There's their health dropping, and that Mortar is entirely dead, taking a lot of pressure off of the Archer-focused build of the Dark Elves. They are moving up to get back in range, do some good work there. And the coast took a bit of a beating. Just a bit. Just a bit. A little bit more fast forwarding while we get set up. Again, sorry for that. Looks like the Dark Elves are trying to kite around. Meanwhile, what the fuck is that? Okay, Spirit Leech. I thought he Fate of Buna Dark Riders, and I'm like, that is not worth it. But another big Burning Head, another dive in on the Manticore, really trying to take out these Mortars. Green one's shutting down Lenorm's ability to counterfire quite nicely as the Dark Elves... Ooh, they might have overextended here. Yeah, because they only have 4 Dread Spears to protect all these Dark Shards. That is not great. They wanted to stay further ahead of the coast than this. We do have Dogs now running. They're trying to get to that back line. This one did collide full-on with Dread Spears and is getting murked down. But the rest of them are going to try and get around the front line and actually block up some of the Dark Shards. So that's going well for them. In the backfield, also... Supreme Sorceress of Fire took some damage. Looks like Spirit Leeches and maybe some Shade-friendly fire really brought her low. And the Black Spot is going to fire at her as she flies overhead. Dogs and the Depth Guard are pushing straight through that front line, really shutting down a lot of the Dark Shards' shoosting capability. Black Spot missing a lot of shots onto the Supreme Sorceress of Fire. See how much damage she ends up taking as there's a pistol caster beneath her just firing up every so often. Dark Riders are going to rear charge those guys, though it is the Black Spot. They do have pole arms, so they'll do okay. Not great, but okay. Depth Guard chasing off Shades and a lot of Dark Shards. That's 4 very healthy range units all running from the same Depth Guard. These guys are also mass routing, and things on the front line look all of a sudden terrible for the Dark Elves. Supreme Sorceress of Fire lands. The Vampire Fleet Admiral with pistols is just going to take the fight. Opal Amulet making her a little tankier. Her being the Supreme Sorceress of Fire. The Black Spot are almost dead. Shades walking in to start firing. Strong but never global banned? I mean, Vampire Counts and Cathay are getting global banned a lot. Yeah. Dark Elves aren't as good as Vampire Counts is in a lot of matchups, but they're still very, very, very good. Shades firing in on the Vampire Fleet Admiral, but that Supreme Sorceress of Fire has taken a lot of damage, and there is a Fate of Buna onto the Shades. Handgun mobs are still firing at the Shades as well, doing a little bit of poke. And the Undead are still chasing Dark Shards around the map, really stopping them from being able to fire. These Depth Guard officially got kited out, it looks like. It looks like a Shade was just sacrificed to them. No, a Dark Shard was. A Dark Shard was sacrificed to them. All the rest of the Shades fired in and did a lot of good damage. Cool, cool. Dark Elves chasing around. Sorry. Well, yeah, they're kind of chasing each other, but Undead mostly chasing Dark Elves around. Depth Guard are going to catch these. Dark Shards. A lot of d sounds. Depth Guard, Dark Shard. All that stuff. Bomber mobs do get a nice shot onto those Dark Shards while they're still chasing these Shades around. Animated Hulks chasing more Dark Shards. A lot of stuff is routing off. Bounce power is about even, 7 minutes into the game. Dark Shards firing at a Depth Guard. The Depth Guard are going to go away. Handguns firing at the Dark Shards with the Shades and the Dark Riders. We'll deal with all that, but ooh, this could be a problem. The Sorceress of Fire lands in some pole arms and gets absolutely fucked up next to the edge of the map. She is going to route straight off. No more magic and no more leadership for the Dark Elves. Another Dark Shard is routed off the side. We have 2 healthy Shades with a lot of ammo. 1 almost dead Shade. That is dead. 2 Dark Shards that are almost dead. So it's really, can 2 Shades carry this whole fight? And they're trying. Dark Rider is going to get those guys. Handgun mob counter-firing with Dark Shards. Dark Shards trying to run away from the zombies, encroaching on it while Shades continue to fire. Continue to do good damage onto the zombies. More Shades, more Dark Shards are rallying. Another, ooh, a big Fate of Buna onto the Shades this late in the game is a big swing in the balance of power as the Shades are routed off. That leaves it really just with 1 Shade that's even capable of doing any damage whatsoever. It's just not going to be enough. The Dark Elves can't kite this out. Not effectively. Another Spirit Leech onto the Shades. Really trying to whittle them down. Bounce power shifts, and Lenorm takes it. Nice job. I don't know why that happened. Okay. I guess we don't get to see the values, but also you got a mild spoiler if you pause the screen there. Because then you'll know that our last couple games are 2 or 3 game series, but that was all of a sudden. Okay. So in the interest of continuing to keep rolling, I will show you the bracket real quick. Alfredino advanced. We saw Lenorm advance over Green One. We have Caradoc and Marco Magno. We have Cal Harmon and Strat Game. All right. And check my phone. Okay. Yeah, I can finish this up if we go. So we have Caradoc, who defeated me. Caradoc versus Marco Magno. And Marco, who did you defeat again? I want to do the names, but also who did he beat? Oh, our first sighting of Cathay today. That's fun for everybody involved. I think Cathay isn't as super strong as we believe them to be, but I do think they're very annoying. Marco beat Tretch. Okay. Cal versus Strat better be good. Oh, you know it will be. No one has ever said Dark Elves are easy to play. Dark Elves are not easy to play. But when you do know how to play them, they're very meta and very strong. Alright. Dark Elves versus Grand Cathay. We have Dark Riders in all corners of the map. We do have 2 Scourge Runner Chariots, more Dark Shards. We have Black Ark Corsairs, Cold One Knights, Dark Shards, Pit of Shades, Caster, and Mouse Dark Blade. We're playing this one on ×3 because I got a place to be and I ain't playing a kite game. We have Caster. Definitely a language gap there, but it's clearly a Yin Caster from the Talons of Night stuff. There we go. Stuff's happening, so I can slow it down now. We have one Crane Gunner, one Rocket Battery. We have an Iron Hail Gunner murking down Malice Darkblade. Jesus Christ. Storm of Shadows slowed him down, and now they're just shooting the poor man to death. Jade Warrior frontline is chilling. We have Jade Warrior Crossmen, looks like 2 of them. Peasant Long Spears in the back. Jade Lancers running around inside the box to keep them safe. And Scourge Runner Chariots actually trying to get involved, but they are just getting killed. And Malice took so much damage from the Crane Gunners. Iron Hail Rockets are also doing, not as much damage as I would have thought against Black Overstairs, honestly. Man, do I miss land battles. Rusty, come play them, man. We host tournaments at least like twice a week for them. Between ODM, BBB, myself. Cool Umbrella hosts them every week. Yeah, there's probably 3 or 4. You know where my server is for the bot that plays them. Rusty, you can play them anytime. Land battles never went anywhere. It's you who left us on the altar. We were ready to be married, Rusty. We were ready to have kids. You promised me kids. I feel like this stopped being about land battles. All right, refocusing. Dark Shard's starting to move in now, but the Yin Lord has sniped out the Sorceress of Shadows straight up in melee, and Cathay has gotten a lot of really high-value picks, and Malice even had to transform to Zarkad because of the pressure he was taking from the Crane Gunners. Oh, very, very rough stuff for the Dark Elves early on. Cathay is winning the frontline fight. They've done a lot of damage to the sides as well. Their Jade Lancers are running down the Dark Riders, and Malice has already been forced to transform. That's tough. That is very tough. Cold Knight's trying to get involved now. Tazarkan dives straight into some Crane Gunners trying to take them out as the Hellstorm Rocket Battery continues to fire into the Dark Elf Cavalry blobs. So that's going okay for them. Overall, this has been an utter shit show for the Dark Elves so far, but they have disrupted the Cathay box, they've disrupted the Cathay frontline, and Cathay in the current meta, I think in the next meta it's going to change a little bit because of Chariots, but in the current meta they're a lot like Skaven, where the first bit of the game goes super well for them, and it's if they can do enough damage right away to stay ahead. Because once they actually get involved in like a bump and grind melee fight, they have a really bad time. Like their Jade Warriors do okay, right? But their backline is super squishy. You can see their Crane Gunners are getting fucked up, Hellstorms are getting fucked up, Iron Hail Gunners are all locked in place. I'm sorry, Spirit of the Cork. Yeah, Rusty was one of our mods, and then he was going to take a break from the game and do some IRL shit, so he might be back. Rusty's an old homie. We love Rusty. Pit of Shades coming in from the Dark Elves onto an Ancestral Warrior summon, though it's really hard to tell that is a summon. They might have just thought it was a Halberd or a Dragon Guard or something, so it is going to do good damage on that summon, but it's not super worth it. Dark Elves are ahead on the wait, no, Cathay's ahead on the balance of power. Malice is still here. He's chilling, but he's been slowly draining himself down, so we'll see how long he can actually hang in there. I don't know if he just hasn't taken a lot of damage or if he's been healing it up the whole time. The firing rockets continuing to shoot even while there's a demon standing right next to you, and there were Velociraptor Knights nearby, but they believe in the Grand Order of Cathay, and they will keep fighting until Dark Riders plow into them as I'm doing a monologue and ruining fucking everything! Cool. Firing rockets shut down. Crane Gunners firing at Scourge Runners. Meanwhile, the Yin Lord is trying to snipe out the Pit of Shades caster to make sure there'll be no more Pit of Shades this game. Malice is still slowly bleeding out. How are the Dark Elves looking without Malice? We have some Dark Riders. We have some almost dead everything else. It is quickly turning into a can Malice carry type of situation. Kumu. Rusty, but gameplay is so good, bro. Dark Elf Mirror for life. Zarkan's running around, still trying to put on the carry pants. There are a lot of peasants left over, which is actually a problem for poor Malice. He can kill plenty, but his heal cap's within sight. And peasant long spears are the best cheap spears in the entire game at like absolutely murdering kids. So if he gets surrounded by peasant long spears, he'll actually take a good amount of damage. He might die. Scourge Runner Chariots chasing off the Crane Gunners. The Yin Lord's at full HP. And Malice continues to slowly bleed. Fast forwarding as we have a bit of chasing down. Bap, bap. Scourge Runner Chariots getting murked. Dark Riders running around trying to do their best. Storm Shadows almost stops them from killing the Crane Gunners, but kill the Crane Gunners they shall. Malice is approaching his healing cap. As he slowly drains, he's rallied with the last of his forces to kill some Jade Warriors. Balance power shifts back towards the middle for the Dark Elves a little bit. Dark Elves have Scourge Runner Chariots chasing off anything that routes. The Yin Lord is still full HP, and ooh, Jade Lancers running around killing the Dark Shards. The Dark Shards' ammunition bars are very full, which would make them fearsome combatants. A Talons of Night just misses because Caradoc did dodge nicely while under attack, but they still rout away. And without them, now when Malice dies, this game will for sure end, because with the Dark Shards with that much HP, I could have seen them holding up the balance of power bar and maybe even winning the game. Nice Reaper of Souls from Tazarkan, does hit a whole bunch of Cathay units, and at this point, the Cathay player, Marco, is going to walk away. Try and spread out, chase things that are routing so that he doesn't have to fight Malice for right now, because Malice is continuing to bleed out. Jade Lancer decides to just fight, and the Yin Lord even dives in to get a little bit of damage herself, then dives out, bit of cycle charging. Malice is down to 1,300 HP, still slowly bleeding out, bleeding away. Army losses hits rather aggressively, I think, if you look around. I mean, it's the Yin Lord being full HP, and she's a caster lord. I get that, but yeah. I still think that was an aggressive army loss all of a sudden. Malice kills some Jade Lancers, he'll kill some Jade Warriors, but the Yin Lord is just fine. Greenskins is dead. Greenskins aren't dead. I like them to Empire, but they do need... You need to get the right matchups with them. So Marco did take game one. I'll look around for any interesting value points, but we gotta keep moving. Scourge Runner's 1,500 value and 800. That's kind of wild. Other than that, Fire and Rocket did well. Crane Gunner did well. Jade Lancers did fine. And then Jade Warriors. Who cares? Okay, so that was 3-1. On to 3-2. Caradoc on the Greenskins versus Marco Magno on the Dark Elves. Oh, no. The Phoenix King's honor is on the line all of a sudden, as we have some Greenskins in the game right now. Cool. Grom the Paunch. Goblin Big Boss with They Need Stab and Fate of Buna and Spirit Leech on the caster. We have Orc Boys, Squig Hoppers. Yeah, Night Goblin, Squig Hopper, ROR. We have Orc Boy Biggins, Squig Herd, Orc Boy Biggins, Squig Hoppers, more Orc Boys, and some Skirmish Cav. Also, Grom the Paunch. I think I mentioned him. Haven't seen him in a long time. Front line of Bleak Swords. We have one Bolt Thrower, 2 Dark Shards, some Witch Elves, some Cold One Knights, Malice, Darkblade, and a Sorceress of Death. 3 Cold One Knights. Greenskins versus Empire? I like it. Bolt Throwers are trying to shoot at the River Troll Hag. Meanwhile, Dark Shards and Bleak Swords are running out to contest some stuff. And Grom the Paunch plus a sneaky stab and get do like half health off of Malice. What the fuck? Looks like he just tried to run away and they got a bunch of rear attacks on him. Dun 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 dun. Little bit of a skirmish phase before Malice tries to attack a River Troll Hag. It doesn't work. He's mithered again. There's a little goblin gonna stab him this time. And this time I'm not fast forwarding because he's gonna get hit in the bum. They Need Stabbing is on him again. He's taking a bit of damage. Some Bleak Swords are trying to peel, so are Witch Elves, but it looks like Grom had a bit of an issue actually hitting him, and now they're just going to run away as Malice is now chasing them to the other sides of the universe. Greenskins are up a pretty significant amount on the damage, on the balance of power. I think it's mostly just due to Malice being killed. And Malice is really going ham, isn't he? Jesus Christ. All right, you might have overextended a little bit, buddy. They Need Stabbing is still active. It's going to fade any second here. Yeah, 2, 1, it's gone. But Squig Herds, Orc Boys, Grom, all trying to reconnect onto that, and a big Fate of Buna is going to hit this already wounded Cold One Knight, probably finishing it off like straight up killing it. And that'll be a pretty huge start for the Dark Elves. Night Goblin, Squig Hoppers, Squig Herds, and Orc Boy, Boar Boy Biggins trying to get involved. Malice is trapped in some Orc Boys. The Fate of Buna worked. The Witch Elves are also not feeling so good, so they might abandon this fight soon, leaving Malice to his fate. Meanwhile, the Boar Boy Biggins did get into the back line. They're opting out of fighting Witch Elves and Cold One Knights, though, which is fair. We need the Durkat Swig Hoppers to come in from Caradoc soon. Witch Elves are routed off, so are the Cold One Knights, but they saved Malice, so Werf. Why my honor? Because you just said Greenskins are dead, and if the Greenskins win, then it's all on you. Orc Boar Boy Biggins are still chilling. We still have some Skirmish Cav running around, doing skirmish cabbie type things. Orc boys are wandering in, bothering some dark shards. And Malice is something. He's mithered and they need stabbing. Little Goblin Big Boss gonna stab his bum. Then a Spirit Leech comes in, and Grom flies in from the rear with a Wah Pops, giving him a bunch of melee attack. Does Marco Magno even notice that this is happening to Malice? Because you might not expect him to get sniped like that. Taking a lot of damage, and Tazarkan is popped. Tazarkan comes out. So Grom and the Goblin Big Boss are gonna have to fuck on out of here, or they are going to die. A terrible, terrible death. Looks like they're starting to run now, but Tazarkan has been popped. Meanwhile, Orc Boys get to the Reaper Bolt Thrower. They'll kill it very quickly. Dark Shards are side charged by the Orc Boy Biggins. They won't kill that as quickly as you would think, because Orc Boy Biggins have pretty meh infantry killing stats, and Witch Elves are going to debuff them a bit, so that might get more dangerous than you can imagine. Deathcaster running forward. Dark Shard's still firing. Grom and his big boss friend are trying to avoid Tazarkan for now. Tazarkan says, avoid this. Walks up to him, and maybe gets a rear attack. He does not. He's just going to wander after him for a bit. Cool. Boar Boys and Squigs getting involved. Hey, there's Dirk and Squig Hoppers. They finally remembered they existed. Witch Elves did rampage. Our poor Boar Boy Biggin friends, but it looks like more Boar Boy Biggins and Squig Herds are trying to join the fight and just kill them rather than run away from them all the time. And yeah. In the distance, something's happening. A Spirit Leech onto Cold Ones. Okay, I was wondering if it was a Fate of Una. Dirk and Squig Hoppers get a rear charge on Cold Knights. That'll rout them, and they can maybe even finish off those Witch Elves. The Greenskins did take a lot of damage to the Witch Elves. Tazarkan killed the Goblin Big Boss. Just straight up killed him. And his 92 speed is getting caught by the 68 of Malice. And you tell me charge isn't broken? And you tell me charge isn't broken. Goblin Big Boss does get away with the sacrifice of some Spider Riders, though. Dark Elf backline is falling apart. We have one Cold One Knight holding on, but other than that, it's really just this Dark Shard that is currently in melee. We'll see how long they can last. Grom and the Goblin Big Boss are running around. Bit of Benny healing, as Malice is going to do Malice things and try to carry the whole game on his back, while the Greenskins pile on to the last Dark Shard and Cold One Knight. They will kill those in short order, it appears. Grom is chasing around a Spirit Leech caster, who Spirit Leeched his little friend. Didn't get much damage because he just circled around her for a bunch, and then they ran away from Tazarkan together, arm in arm. Overall, the Greenskins are mostly chasing Dark Elves off the map at this point. Another Spirit Leech onto Tazarkan, just trying to whittle him down with some skirmish cav, with some skirmish spells, honestly. And we've seen this song and dance literally last game. It's, can you run away from Tazarkan long enough for him to bleed out? The answer is appearing to be yes, as another Spirit Leech hits him. More skirmish cav fire, and the Dark Elf player does just surrender. Again, I would look at values, but I am short on time. So I will just put the blocker up, look for anything crazy. Grom, 900. River Troll Hag, 1900. That looks more right. Goblin Big Boss, 1100. Orc Boys actually did really well. Malice, 2000. Everything else on the Dark Elves, meh. Bleak Swords did fine. Okay, cool. Game 3. Of course you guys don't go 2-0, you goddamn bastards. Lizardmen for Caradoc versus Marco Magno's Empire, and no Revivification Crystal, no Life Salon, so there's no healing for the lizards. Looks like we have a Cold One Rush, 2 Cold One Spear Riders, 2 Cold One Riders, period, and then 3 Feral Cold Ones, a Feral Bastiladon, 2 Saurus, the Red Crested Skink ROR, some Chameleon Skinks, Skink Coats with Javelins, and what does the caster have? Manticore Summon and Flock of Doom, and then we have Tic-Tac-Toe up in the sky. That is a very weird Lizardman build. Alright, other side. 3 War Wagons for the Empire, Boris Toddbringer up in the sky. We have Strone's Revenge Free Company Militia, Grey Wizard with Pit of Shades, and Melkoth Mystifying Miasma. Front line of Swordsmen. Then we have a bunch of Empire Knights, 3 of them, and a bunch of Halberdiers to defend the back lines. A little bit of a skirmish phase, going to fast forward again. Time is limited. Oh, hush. War Wagons, War Wagoning. Boris dives into some Saurus, gets a little bit of damage, then he takes a bunch of damage in return from those things. Empire Knights try to charge forward. Not slow motion. Empire Knights try to charge forward, but they get countercharged by Feral Cold Ones and the Red Crested Skink ROR. They take a lot of damage, and Saurus at last catch themselves some swordsmen. So they're enjoying their life very much. Hi, Hazel. Meanwhile, the Grey Wizard is going to get off a beautiful Pit of Shades onto the cohort of Zotek and the Feral Cold Ones, freeing up Boris to get out of there, and the Manticore Summon dives onto the Stone's Avenge just to stop them from shooting for a bit. As Tic-Tac-Toe considers getting his beak wet, he decides not to. He doesn't really want to go after Boris just yet, apparently. Meanwhile, Cold and Spear Riders do catch some Empire Knights out, and they will win that fight quite handedly, though, with Warwagon support. Who really knows? Who really knows? The Cold One Tide is now pushing through the front line. The Empire doesn't have enough state troops really in position to stop them, and a Flock of Doom does hit all of these units as the Cold Ones plow in. That might be the end of the Stone's Revenge Free Company Militia. Who knows? Boris is pushing off those Cold One Knights, though, doing a lot of damage over there. Cold One Spear Riders, whatever. It's essentially Cold One Knights. Tic-Tac-Toe and the Manticore are trying to team up on the Grey Wizard, but the Manticore gets distracted by pretty halberds. And the front line of the Empire is getting absolutely murdered. Their back line's doing fine, though. The War Wagons have still been firing mostly unhindered, and a lot of Cold One Blanks, actually, have taken a ton of damage. Speaking of a ton of damage, Boris! Not looking so hot. Boris? Buddy? Chameleon Skink's poking him down. Tic-Tac-Toe thinking about getting involved. Tic-Tac-Toe really didn't get shit done to that Grey Wizard, though. We still have some Feral Cold Ones on the flank. Ooh, and a big enclave of Lizardmen over here that have not gotten involved quite yet, and they will be joining the fight soon. Lizardmen slightly ahead on the balance of power. That, or it's... Yeah, I think it's slightly in their favor. That, or it's even. Don't put the blocker up on values? I'm playing English from Warhammer 1, I don't know. Yeah, I'm rushing through those things. Hi, Edwin. Cold and Spear Riders dive in, dive out. A little blob of Imperial troops has formed here. I wonder if there's a Flock of Doom to cast onto that just for a little bit of for fun gaming. Saurus chewing through Spearmen with a little bit of help from Tic-Tac-Toe. The Empire still even on balance of power. Boris diving back in. The War Wagon still healthy and free and clear. We have some Spearmen off in the distance, kind of lost the plot. They do need to rejoin the fight as the Empire desperately holds on. Boris Toddbringer getting killed by Tic-Tac-Toe and Cold and Spear Riders taking a lot of damage. My boy is taking a lot of damage. But a huge Pit of Shades is going to catch these very healthy Cold and Riders. Going to do a lot of damage to them, overcast or undercast. You can see how many of them are sitting inside the Pit of Shades. They can't escape now. They have taken a ton. But Tic-Tac-Toe is really pushing Boris around this map. I wonder if the War Wagons can bail him out or something. Feral Cold Ones fighting Empire Knights, doing quite well there. They have to now fight Cold One Spear Riders. There's just so many Lizardmen cav to deal with. Boris is not quite able to, and he does have to fuck off for a bit. A lot of Lizardmen infantry and cav still pushing in. For the Empire, all they really have is the War Wagons and state troops at this point. Their Empire Knights are way too tattered to have an effect on this game. Boris is too tattered, and their Stone's Avenge is their only foot DACA piece, so it's really on these War Wagons to carry. And they're trying. They're trying their damnedest. A little bit of fast forward through a weird lag spike in a replay, which is odd. Cold One Riders, Cold One Spear Riders still in the fight, though Boris tries to chase off some of the Spear Riders. He gets side charged by Cold Ones. He does pull away. Close game. Saurus are running out of juice a little bit. They've had to churn through a lot of state troops, and it is wearing down on them. Chameleon Skinks are healthy, but running low on ammunition. And the War Wagons continue to fire. Oh, we have this healthy Saurus here, though. This guy should have another Pit of Shades. If he Pit of Shades right now, that could be clutch for the game. There. Killing a whole Skink cohort would be nice. But we'll see. We'll see if he has any pits left. A little bit more kiting as more state troopers die. There's a big Pit of Shades. It hit some Skinks, so it's okay, but maybe should have used it on the Saurus. I don't know. War Wagon sniping out Tic-Tac-Toe, who drops his bomb, and then he's going to start dodging again. And Boris dives in. Flock of Doom on the whole Empire blob, though, is going to get some decent value. It's kind of a small value spell, but over time it gets its worth in. War Wagons are pushing them back. Lizardmen, how are you doing? We have Cold One Riders, Cold One Spear Riders still. They're going to have to do a lot of work in this game. Boris is heal capped, and he's getting shot by Chameleon Skinks. They're doing a lot of damage to him. And another Flock of Doom hits all these guys. War Wagons trying to get away from the Feral Bastillodon. They have a lot of ammunition left for this point in the game. Tic-Tac-Toe is diving down onto Boris. Boris needs to get out of here. We saw Tic-Tac-Toe kick his ass earlier, but Boris actually gets a nice shot back onto Tic-Tac for now. And the Grey Wizard is also here. Tic-Tac opts out of the fight. Super close game. Cold One Spear Rider's still here. Cold One Rider's in the distance. The Empire is heavily relying on those war wagons. Melkoth's is going to do a lot of damage to the Coldwind Spear Riders. And Boris is still here. Boris is still fighting. War wagons still at, it looks like 12 models. Yep, 4 each. Another Flock of Doom trying to deal damage to them. Boris is fighting with the Cohort of Sotek. Now they are unbreakable, so he doesn't get a lot of his buffs versus them in any capacity. Chameleon Skinks out of ammo and 2 shots left. Boris takes a nasty volley from them, though, in the butt. Is going to start rallying. Sorry, the opposite of rallying. Routing. The other R1. War wagons kiting away. Lizardmen are up on the balance of power. Can they kill the war wagons is the question. Tic-tac-toe starts to dodge around. He wanted to chase Boris, but couldn't quite get the angle on it. War wagons get out free and clear. They start kiting around, start doing some damage. Flock of Dooms poking them down. Tic-tac-toe getting a little low. Does not look like Boris is coming back. He did not. So without him, the Empire is maybe at a loss. Ooh, and the war wagons get caught in melee combat. A big Pit of Shades is going to help the Empire a bit, but I think we are just too low. Even the war wagons running out of ammo. The war wagons used all of their ammo is how wild that game was. But at this point, they just get chased down. And that's a GG, so Caradoc goes into the top 4. Tic-tac-toe did fine. Cold Spear Riders did okay. Cold One Riders didn't get a lot of value, honestly. Saurus were just meat grinders. Chameleon Skinks getting 3,000 value between 2 of them is wild. The Beastcaster also got 1,300 value on just Flock of Dooms. So that is where a lot of your value went. For Marco Magno, Boris struggled to get value. Pit of Shadescaster did very well. War Wagons just overpaid for themselves, using all of their ammo. So good for them, but didn't quite get to find the targets they wanted. The rest struggled. All right. So Caradoc took that, and he went to the finals thingy. All right. We have Strat Game versus Cal Harmon. Cool. Cal Harmon versus Strat Game. This is a matchup, actually, we saw Cal Harmon play earlier versus Berserk. With this same build on this same map. So yeah, you saw it before. Life Slon, not a high Slon this time. Life Slon. Can War Wagon shoot over the Pistolier Cav? No, I don't think so. They block him. Yeah. Flesh to Stone and Earthblood. We have 2 Stegodons. We have the Clawstone Hunters, Ripperdactyl Riders. We have a bunch of Saurus Spears, Skink Skirmishers, and some Skink Jav Throwers. We have 5 Nobler Trappers for Strat Game. Crushers with great weapons, Sabertooth Packs. Crushers with great weapons, Sabertooth Packs. Crushers with great weapons, 2 Lead Belchers, and Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw with only Troll Guts. A bit of kiting first as Stegodons try and shoot at these Crushers, doing a little bit of damage. Meanwhile, Skink Skirmish around. Marco played really strong. He did play really strong. It was a close series. Very close series. Skink Chorus Javelins run out to do a little bit of damage on the Noblar Trappers. Then they get rear charged by the Sky Striders, and now there's going to be a lot of skirmish cabs shooting at them. So I am very concerned for the Sky Strider safety. We will see if they can get healed through it or if they're in trouble. Sabertooth Pack, Blood Statue despite plus getting skirmish, they will rampage very soon, and that will lead them to their deaths for sure. Ripperdactyls are also diving onto the Sky Striders with help from a Stegodon. So things going well for the Lizardmen in the very, very early game. Sabertooth Pack almost routing. Not quite routing yet, and now it might run off the map. We'll see if it rallies in time. Ripperdactyls and Stegodon now backing off. Don't want to get caught by the Sky Striders with support and Lead Belcher fire. And Lead Belchers in the distance have not been harassed like we saw the first time. Stegodons have been focusing on the Crushers, not the Lead Belchers, so they're still full HP. Nobler Trappers do get their Trixie Traps on the Clawstone Hunters, and the Sabertooths from before did not route off the map. They swiveled and managed to escape. Nobler Trappers taking a lot of damage. Lizardman frontline is holding for now. Holding for now. Crushers seem to be in a bad way, fighting 2 Stegodons and the Ripperdactyls with healing support and a bunch of poison getting thrown in at them. Sky Strider's taking a lot of damage. Sabertooth's getting pushed back once more. Slaughtermaster the Great Maw is just up on the hill enjoying the show. These Saurus Spears do need orders to come in here and fight these Crushers and such, because the Crushers are currently just killing your Skinks. And the 2 Lead Belchers are safe and happy, though they are overlapping each other, so I wonder how much obstruction there is in being able to shoot, but they are getting side shots down the Saurus for now. Sky Strider's taking a lot of damage. Skink's still throwing in on them. Don't see their heal cap yet, so they haven't gotten a Troll Guts or a Butcher or anything, I don't think. But that might not matter. If they rout, they could just be chased off the map, even if they get healing. The other Crusher is also taking a lot of damage, so big value trade up for the Lizardmen in this area. We are getting another Earthblood trying to keep the Clawstone Hunters in the fight. Terror Route off for the Crushers. Everybody is pushed away. Sora Spears. They're fighting. Another Crusher is about to rout, and this Crusher, while healthy, is actually close to routing too, so he has to fuck off for a bit. Bounce power shifts slightly in the Lizardman favor, and I would tend to agree, and these Crushers do actually get routed. Though, without anything actually chasing them, the Sky Striders will be back in just a second. Things are looking good for the Lizardmen. Stegodon plows straight through the Noblars, is going to terror out them off quite soon. More Crushers are onto him, but with all the Skink support and the Javelin, the Sora Spear support, these Crushers are also about to have a bad time. Boop. Yeah. So they got murked. Lead Belchers can try to kite out at this point, but I'm not sure how they're going to be able to do it. As the Crushers have rallied, there was nothing to chase them off, so I guess that's good for the Lizardmen. I mean, sorry, for the Ogres, that nothing could chase them off. And they do get to kill a bunch of Skirmish Skinks. So that's nice. And they do get a Troll Guts Overcast. Stegos fight Sabertusk Pax for a bit. Alright. Cool. Ripperdactyl Riders are going to try and chase down the Lead Belchers, and chase them down they should be able to, but there are Crushers coming to help out. Sora Spears are chasing down some stuff, and the Bowstags still have tons of ammunition to just poke at these Sky Striders and the other Crushers. More Skirmish Skinks are trying to return to the fight. Lizardmen are up on the damage value, and I would tend to agree. I mean, the balance of power, I've been getting those mixed up a lot today. Skirmish Skinks running straight at Crushers. Now they're opting out, but the Crushers might be charging for the Slaw. No, they actually were charging for the Skirmish Skinks. It just didn't work out. Rippers might try and take a moment to fight the Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw. Looks like they're not going to. Instead, Sora Spears will just be shot from all sides by a whole bunch of things and then charged by Crushers. I'm sure they're actually fine with that, though, as in the backfield, two of the Ogre's Crushers are pushed off by the Stegodons and Skirmish Elements. Okay, a little bit of fast-forwarding as the Ripperdactyls dive in to fight the Lead Belchers. They do get killed off, and Sora Spears just keep pushing in inevitably. The last of the Crushers is pushed away. I guess there are more up on the high ground that managed to rally, but the Lizardmen are feeling pretty confident about it. Stegodon still firing in from the side onto those Lead Belchers, and now you're being pursued in melee combat by Saurus, and whenever you are running away, you're getting shot in the bum by Bowstags. Does not feel good. More Crushers are going to be routed off, and it looks like this Lizardman build will do it yet again. I think it's pretty Ogre at this point. Sky Striders and the other Crushers join in for a brief moment. Army losses hits, and this GG. I got another text. Let's see if it's from my boss or someone else. All right. Cal Harmon on Nurgle versus Strat Game on the Beastmen. You might have seen some spoilers there, but that's okay, because we are officially fucking motoring. Strat Game with the Vargablar, our favorite ROR to cast. 2 Gorgons, and I imagine that's a Traderkin caster. Yep. Traderkin caster, then he just has some Ungor Spearmen, bunch of Centaurs, and 2 Centaurs with Throwing Axes to deal with a Nurgle blob of any kind. On the other side, we have Forsaken of Nurgle, Pox Riders of Nurgle, 2 Chaos Knights with Lances, Marauders, Barons of the Bog, I think I mentioned them, Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle, with Stream of Corruption and Fleshy Abundance, and we have a Cultist summon. A Cultist who can summon. Okay. Bit of Benny healing for a second as Nurgle keeps reforming their lines. And the front lines finally collide as the Vargablar is in there. Chaos Knights of Nurgle going to countercharge, but the double Gorgons will also countercharge. 59 watching now, nice. I'm at 73, but mine maybe hasn't updated in a while. Traderkin Overcast hits all of these random units, but it also hits the Chaos Sorcerer load of Nurgle. The Varga Blarga Blarga Blar rolls straight through some Marauders and gets them to tear out. Meanwhile, the Double Gorgons are going to run away from the Chaos Knights and the Barons of the Bog. They just want out of there, as it looks like Centaurs with Throwing Axes are going to offer some support, offer some aid to help out. Meanwhile, the Varga Blarga Blarga Blar opted into just fighting some random or frontline units and Mortis engineering them as it does. Beastmen are massively ahead on the balance of power already in this game, and I would tend to agree. Single entities aren't having a great time. Throwing Axes are getting involved. Looks like they were shooting at the Chaos Knights of Nurgle. Now they might be throwing at the Barons of the Bog. Double Gorgon just straight up walking in like they own the place, and a Fleshy Abundance Overcast might hurt the Chaos Caster. It does, but it'll heal him up afterwards. It's just a matter of if he routes or not in the meantime. A lot of Nurgle's forces are left behind. They're fighting some tattered Beastmen remains that they don't care about. The Beastmen force is way overloading this flank. Which frog? Nurgle one or Beastmen? Nurgle. Yeah. Anyway. Centaurs trying to rout off some Chaos Knights with Lances. They do get a tear out. I don't think it'll be a natural route, so they probably will come back. Meanwhile, the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle is getting away. And the Varga Blarga Blarga Blar is continuing to fight with some Fergs. Hurrah! Centaurs and Throwing Axes all trying to deal with the Chaos Knights with Lances. We'll see if they're able to, as Nurgle is getting pushed back. Centaurs are going to actually chase off those Chaos Knights. They did get it. That's a pretty huge pick. Gorgon just walks over. Says, I thought I almost killed you. Now you're at full health. What the fuck? And he is going to try and re-kill Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle, as actually Centaurs are just in his way. Just flat out in his way. Stupid Centaurs. Festering Stooges and Forsaken are trying to rejoin that fight and do some good work. Meanwhile, Chaos Knights of Nurgle get isolated. And again, the Centaurs are back in melee with them not using their Throwing Axes. And the Varga Blarga Blarga Blar says, wait for me, I'm coming! Whee! Starts draining them down, gets a big charge attack, and will probably actually tear out them off pretty soon. Meanwhile, how are the Gorgons doing? Pretty good. They chased down the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle, brought his healing cap well within sight. And they're just chilling for now. What up, Bing chillin'? Hey, Neckbet. Hey, hey. Big Traderkin Overcast hits this blob, though there's not a lot of single entities here, so the Traderkin's not even going to do that much damage to them. As we have Skirmish Cav running away to start doing some Skirmish Cav stuff. Varga Blarga Blarga Blar is running around. Cultist of Nurgle still exists. We all know he's here. And the Gorgons and Centaurs chase down some other stuff. Gonna fast forward real quick. So Varga Blarga Blarga Blar dodges some stuff. Little bit of kiting. Little bit of kiting. Varga Blarga Blar gets sort of caught. And I wonder if we have a Traderkin ready for these two single entities being right next to each other. On the other side, it looks like the Gorgons are getting involved. Centaurs charging in a little bit. Varga Blarga Blar avoiding imminent death. Back to fast forwarding for a little bit. Boop. Varga Blarga Blarga Blar. Mortis engine draining down anybody with low leadership. The Gorgons continuing to fight, continuing to regen up. Throwing Axes throwing, but there's not a lot of ammo left to them. I do wonder if the Traderkin caster has a Traderkin for us soon. Back to fast forwarding. This is a lot of Nurgle infantry. Yes, infantry left, but the Varga Blarga Blar can deal with that with effective cycle charging. There is another Traderkin. It is Overcast. It does hit the Chaos Sorcerer Lord, doing massive damage to him and his cultist. I really like that over trying to use it as a blob punishment spell, because it doesn't really do that well. The Varga Blarga Blarga Blar is still killing lots of infantry. The Gorgons do need to look to snipe that Chaos Sorcerer Lord soon, but for now they will defend their friend, who they need to Mortis engine down the blob in the late game. They are killing the Barons of the Blob. Little bit of a blob fight. Looks like we have a Fleshy Abundance Overcast that did not hurt the Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle, which is pretty crucial for Cal Harmon. It is going to heal cap the Barons of the Bog, who are real close to demonic instability routing. Balance power slightly in favor of the Beastmen. I would tend to agree. As the double Gorgons catch out the Sorcerer Lord, they are going to push him out of the blob and kill him for good. That'll finish off the Barons, because when he dies, his leadership will tank, and they'll die. And when they die, army losses will probably hit. Holy shit, they actually survived for a bit. There we go. Another Traderkin's going to hit them all. That should be army losses for Nurgle, taking us to a game 3 that I have to power through and then go to work. Holy shit, hurry up and crumble! All right. Boop. Game 3 between Cal Harmon and Strachan. Again, sorry to rush, just running out of time before I have to go back to work. So sorry about that, everybody. But this is the last game. Matchup seems sus for Nurgle. What's the evaluation? I don't know. So if you look at the bracket for a second, Alfredino has advanced, Lenorum advanced over Green 1, Caradoc advanced, and we're now waiting to see who wins between Strat Game and Cal Harmon. The top four, I have said it multiple times, but Tactical Lich and I will co-cast it on Sunday on the new patch. It'll be great. So thanks for sticking with us today. This is the final game of the stream, the final semifinal. 1-1, Strat Gamer Cal Harmon advances. Let's find out who. It's Demons of Chaos for, I think this is Cal Harmon, versus Strat Games Skaven. I only say it's probably Strat Game Skaven because this looks like the Strat Game build. We have 4 Night Runners, 4 Rat Ogres, a Chieftain, a Packmaster, Icket Claw, 3 Poisonwind Globes, and then 4 Clan Rats with Spears. On the other side for the Demons of Chaos, we have Blue Horrors, 5 of them, 3 Plague Toads of Nurgle, 4 Flesh Hounds. We also have a Nurgling in the far distance. Bellicor maybe can solo carry this. I usually ban Demons of Chaos, Warriors of Chaos when I pick Skaven just because I don't want to use Bellicor. And we do have a Plague Ridden of Nurgle with Fleshy Abundance to heal Bellicor, which is a scary, scary concept. Cool. Skaven are jockeying for position. So are the Demons. Demons dive in at last. Bellicor is going to try and straight up Terror out off some globes. Looks like it's not going to quite work out for him. Oh, he got a big hit. He might be able to Terror out them. And he does. And if they leave the formation, they can get run down by Fleshhound. So nice early play there. Bellicor is now surrounded, but here's why I hate dealing with him so much. Shadow Shroud giving him 40% damage resistance, and then Dark Master making anybody who can threaten him very limp. Now, the Plague Ridden of Nurgle has to be careful, because Bellicor is a caster, but he didn't bring any spells. So the actual only caster here is the Plague Ridden. He can't afford to get caught and killed. He needs to get the fuck out of there, and he is trying to. Meanwhile, for the front line, Skaven, Rat Ogres are diving onto Blue Horrors, but Plague Toads might actually be able to peel them off if they care to. It looks like they're actually just leaving the Blue Horrors to be chaff. And now the Plague Toads and the Flesh Hounds are pushing in. Skaven are routing in every direction as the Blue Horrors continue to pump in fire. But the Plague Ridden of Nurgle taking a lot of damage, and there's even an overcasting Cleansing Ruin. He's trying desperately to get out of the circle before he takes too much damage. He's getting up into the sky, and he is gone. He's outside the Cleansing Ruin. He should be just fine. That is a huge win for the Demons of Chaos. Blue Horrors and Plague Toads continuing to push up. Getting a bit of lag in a replay, which is really weird, but okay. And the Skaven are in mass exodus already. Even stuff with decent health bars is just getting pushed off as Bellicor is AoE blocking ITP plus like lowering your leadership and all that shit. It's proving pretty brutal as the Demons of Chaos just murk down the Skaven, but oh no, the Plague Ridden walks back into the Cleansing Ruin that's on the ground. He's taking a bunch of damage. He's overcasting a Fleshy Abundance. Does it kill him? No. If he had Overcast, that legit would have killed him. But Fleshy Abundance Overcast is healing up Bellicor and the Plague Ridden. The Skaven are in mass exodus. It looks like Toads and Fleshhounds are trying to keep them running, but the Night Runners have actually already rallied, and they are already fighting back quite a bit. Blue Horror is continuing to fight. The Icket Claw Blob and Packmaster. Packmaster getting really close to Terror routing. But did he bring... Yeah, he brought the removes ITP thing. So the Packmaster actually can Terror out, despite the fact that he causes Terror. Rat Ogres and everybody running. Demons of Chaos are slightly up on the bounce power. I would tend to agree. Nurglings, Plague Toads, Fleshhounds, they're just like hurting the Skaven constantly this way. Routing them, and then when they rally, continuing to push them back. Plague Toads just being disruptive. Really the only thing for Skaven that's still actually standing is the Hero Core, and they are doing alright. Icket Claw is getting a little low, but the Chieftain and the Packmaster are healing up more than enough to deal with it. Little bit of Blob Punishment, Cleansing Ruin, Overcast in this area to deal with Plague Toads and Blue Horrors. I think that probably should have been focused on Bellicor because you can already see his heal cow coming in, or the Plague Ridden. Using that on a random blob is probably just not worth it, unfortunately. Like, wait for Bellicor to use his Dark Shroud thing, the Shadow Shroud, 40% damage resistance, then just throw it on his ass. Blue Horror still firing in. Icket Claw does use a Brass Orb to clear out some Blue Horrors who are swarming the area. Fleshhounds and the Plague Ridden and Bellicor chasing off all of these things. And once they are done with that, that will leave Skaven with literally just their 3 characters if they can successfully chase all this stuff off the map, which it looks like they are able to do. The Fleshhounds dive in as well. I'm getting a phone call, but it's not from my coworker, so I don't know who the fuck's calling me. I'll deal with it. How much value is on the Bray Shaman? Don't know. Don't know. I have to go to my job, so I can't stop and do all the values. I'm sorry, Caradoc, but I have to go. All right. Skaven are down to just their 3 single entities. Still getting a phone call. Flensing Ruin onto this guy. Does he have his Shadow Shroud? Yes, he does. So he's going to mitigate 40% of that damage. Alright, diving in. Bellicor trying to get a good shot. Plague Toads and Fleshhounds are here. Blue Horrors, a little bit of ammunition left on them, but they are mostly just chaff at this point. Ikit Claw is going to route, and with him, the army losses will hit. I think that's some bullshit army losses. Alright, it stopped being army losses. Good. For a second there, I was like, you're really going to army loss him like that? Is the Plague Ridden around? There's a full health Nurgling just walking. Oh, the Plague Ridden is super far away. He's just trying to stay safe, I guess. If he has a Fleshy Abundance for himself, if he can heal himself up, he can trigger army losses right now. But that was crazy. It was army losses, and then it got mitigated. And now it's back again, and I still think that was some aggressive army losses, is what I'll say. But okay. Shadow Shroud infinite uses? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Okay. I absolutely have to go. Congratulations on Cal Harmon getting the top 4. Your top 4 are Alfredino, Lenorm, Cal Harmon, and Caradoc. That top 4 will be cast live by myself for Tactical Lich Sunday. Thank you for hanging around. Sorry the end got a little bit rushed, but I didn't know how long it would take to cast these replays. Also, a lot of these series went to Game 3. Also, a lot of these series had very close, very long games. Not a lot of stomps, which is what you want out of good content. But it is, unfortunately, bad for me since I have to go. I have to go back to work. Thank you all for joining. I hope you subscribe if you have not subscribed before. Goodbye forever.